Chapter 116. Lu Ping used his last talisman to block the 5 late blood condensation cultivators. Just as he was about to turn and run, a mid-stage Xianling sect cultivator suddenly dashed out from the side. His speed was as fast as the late-stage Xianling sect cultivators. While Lu Ping was still in shock, a flying sword was already flying towards Lu Ping with all the arcane energy a cultivator could muster. Lu Ping casually activated the water-repellent shield. The flying sword pierced through the shield, but the shield only shook a little. Only then did Lu Ping see that the flying sword was flying towards Zhang Weiqing, who had suffered a crushing defeat on Fei Ling Island. He was now a mid-stage blood condensation cultivator, and he was glaring at Lu Ping with hatred and horror. His face was frighteningly pale. Lu Ping didn't have the time to think about how Zhang Weiqing managed to make a move before the late-stage Xianling sect cultivators. He activated the magic cloud bracelet, turned into a white light, and disappeared into the night sky. Zhou Weilong and the other 4 looked at the fleeing Lu Ping with complicated expressions. They didn't expect that an early-stage Xianling sect cultivator would be able to escape from their ambush. If word of this got out, they would definitely become the laughingstock of the sect. Zhou Weilong said viciously, "If I don't kill this person, I won't be able to quell the hatred in my heart. I'm afraid that in the future, we will be laughed at by others for not being able to take care of an early-stage Xianling sect cultivator. Unfortunately, the most important thing now is to escape from Zhenling." Zhou Weilong sighed, and his expression was one of anger. The cultivators from the other sects also had troubled expressions. Senior Marshal Brother Zhao stepped out from the crowd and said, "Everyone has important matters to attend to. Only my 2 junior marshal brothers and I are alone. Without any scruples, even if we return to the sect, it will only add to our crimes. Why don't we kill this evil bastard Jinling? At least we can vent our anger." Seeing that someone had come out to kill Lu Ping, everyone heaved a sigh of relief. After all, if this matter were to spread out, it would be too embarrassing. Not only did they bully the weak, but they also bullied him with numbers. Senior Brother Zhao's tone changed, and he said, "Although I have sworn to kill this child, the sea is vast, and us 3 senior brothers really do not have the strength to chase after one person. Therefore, I hope that senior brothers can send a few junior brothers to help us. This is a form of coercion. In any case, it's everyone who's going to lose face, and it absolutely can't be my Mistwater Pavilion alone that's going to be the one to bear the consequences. Everyone is bound together for good or bad." While the other 4 were hesitating, a Xianling sect cultivator said, "Senior Marshal Brother Zhou, I'm willing to join Senior Marshal Brother Zhao to hunt down Jinling's disciple." Zhou Weilong saw that this person was Zhang Weiqing, who used a secret art to stop Lu Ping. Zhou Weilong more or less understood Zhang Weiqing's thoughts, so he said, "In that case, Junior Marshal Brother Liao can come with us." When the other 3 sects saw Zhou Weilong's decision, they also sent 2 mid-blood condensation realm cultivators under Senior Marshal Brother Zhao's command. A total of 10 mid-blood condensation realm cultivators were sent to hunt down Lu Ping under the leadership of the late blood condensation realm Senior Marshal Brother Zhao. The group chased in the direction Lu Ping escaped for tens of li. Zhang Weiqing asked, "Senior Marshal Brother Zhao, our vision is blocked in the dark, and our divine sense range is limited. Jinling's disciple has already escaped. How are we going to find out his escape route?" Senior Marshal Brother Zhao smiled and said, "Of course I'm prepared. Junior Marshal Brother Wang." The cultivator wearing the diving suit nodded at Senior Marshal Brother Zhao and took out a big bottle from his storage pouch. He circulated his arcane energy and a stream of water gushed out. A squid jumped out of the bottle along with the flow of water. It grew to 3 feet in size and fell into the sea. From the demonic aura exuding from the squid, it was an early blood condensation realm demonic beast. Just when everyone was feeling puzzled, they saw Junior Marshal Brother Wang take out 2 pale jade talismans without any spiritual energy. Some cultivators with sharp eyes recognized these talismans as the ones Lu Ping used to fend off the group's pursuit. However, There was no spiritual energy left in the talismans, so they were useless. Junior Marshall Brother Wang had already picked them up. Junior Marshall Brother Wang threw the 2 useless talismans to the squid. The squid leaped up and swallowed the 2 talismans. After it fell into the sea, it turned around and swam towards the east. Senior Marshall Brother Zhao beckoned for everyone to catch up. He explained, Junior Marshall Brother Wang's spirit beast has a special ability. It can track a cultivator's aura. These 2 talismans were activated by Brat Jinling's arcane energy, so his aura is still on them. This is also the reason why I'm confident in leading everyone to hunt him down. Everyone was suddenly enlightened. The cultivators who were afraid of Senior Apprentice Brother Zhao all praised Senior Apprentice Brother Zhao for planning before taking action. A month later, Lu Ping flew towards the northwest from the eastern part of the buffer zone. Less than 2 hours later, he saw a ray of light rushing towards him from the side. Lu Ping's face turned bitter. They're here again. It seems like this group of people is really determined to drag it out with me. For the past month, I've fought with this group of people several times. Although Lu Ping managed to injure a few of them, he was so scared by the other cultivators that they would turn around and run. Senior Marshall Brother Zhao, who was in the late blood condensation realm, almost caught up to him a few times. Seeing the ray of light flying towards him, Lu Ping's face hardened. The soaring wing swords circled around and slashed towards the incoming cultivator. The pursuing cultivator seemed to be prepared. He quickly placed a bell-like mid-grade mystic artifact on top of his head to protect himself, allowing Lu Ping's flying swords to slash at him. He was like a rock standing on the beach. Although he was battered by the waves several times and was submerged in the seawater, he would slowly resurface when the waves receded. Lu Ping made up his mind. A square iron seal appeared in his hand. The defending cultivator's face paled when he saw the iron seal in Lu Ping's hand. The few cultivators who were injured by Lu Ping previously were all injured by this iron seal. If the others didn't come to his rescue in time, those cultivators would have died. He didn't expect to encounter it today. The cultivator couldn't help but turn his head to look at the path he came from. If the people who came to his rescue didn't arrive soon, he would inevitably be injured. At that time, he might have to give up on this path and let that brat Jinling escape. It seemed like the heavens didn't want Lu Ping to escape so easily. Just as the cultivator turned his head to look, 2 rays of light were already flying towards Lu Ping. Lu Ping cursed in his heart. They're coming so fast. He retracted the landslide that was about to be unleashed, turned around, and continued to escape towards the east. Actually, Lu Ping didn't care about the 2 mid-blood condensation cultivators who came to his rescue. If he had enough time, Lu Ping could easily injure 1 or 2 of them and escape. However, his previous experience told Lu Ping that once he fought against the 3 cultivators, the 3 cultivators would try their best to stall for time instead of fighting him to the death. As long as he could stall for time, more cultivators would come to his rescue. If he encountered Senior Brother Zhao from the Shui Yan Pavilion, he might have to leave something behind before he could escape. Half a month ago, Lu Ping was about to break out of the encirclement, but Senior Brother Zhao suddenly appeared. If it wasn't for Lu Ping's quick reflexes, he might have been surrounded by the others. At that time, even if he didn't die, he would at least lose a layer of skin. The cultivator who had been hiding in his shell all this while saw Lu Ping retreating because of the arrival of his reinforcements. He immediately cast out a mystic instrument and attacked Lu Ping, trying to stop him from retreating. Lu Ping suddenly turned around, and the soaring wing sword caused the magic artifact to be riddled with scars. The cultivator's face turned pale, and it was obvious that he was heavily injured. He quickly gave up on the idea of pestering Lu Ping and placed the defensive magic artifact firmly on top of his head, blocking Lu Ping's escape route to the northwest while waiting for reinforcements to arrive. Seeing that he didn't have a chance, Lu Ping was furious. Then, he saw 2 more rays of light flying over from the horizon. One of them was unusually dazzling and fast. Lu Ping's heart skipped a beat. He knew that it was the Shui Yan Pavilion's Senior Brother Zhao. So, he gave up on the idea of breaking out of the encirclement and fled towards the east. When senior brother Zhao and the other reinforcements arrived, Lu Ping's figure was already nowhere to be seen. Senior brother Zhao looked in the direction Lu Ping escaped and gritted his teeth. That brat escaped again. After a while, junior brother Wang, who was wearing a diving suit, suddenly jumped out of the sea and said, "Senior brother Zhao, that Jinling brat is still heading east. Should we chase after him?" Senior brother Zhao was already furious. When he heard junior brother Wang's words, he suddenly turned around and said with a sinister expression, "Why shouldn't we chase after him? Nearly 20 of our Shui Yan Pavilion's cultivators were killed by Xianling sect because of this brat. If we don't kill him, how are we going to answer to the sect?" Everyone was dejected when they heard senior brother Zhao's words. Junior brother Wang cautiously said, "But if we go further east, we will reach the demon territory. That place is 100 times more dangerous than the buffer zone." Previously, Xianling sect's senior brother Zhou Weilong repeatedly warned us not to go too deep into the demon territory. Not only are the demon territory's forces rampant there, but there are also rumors that there is another mysterious force there that has been wantonly plundering human cultivators. Senior brother Zhao had already calmed down a lot. After listening to junior brother Wang's advice, he still said unwillingly, "So what? The demon territory is so big, and our forces are not weak. The danger may not come to us." Junior brother Wang saw that senior brother Zhao had calmed down, so he slowed down and continued to persuade, "Senior brother, in the buffer zone, Jinling has already launched an encirclement against us. Other than our Shui Yan Pavilion, although Xianling sect's senior brother Zhou Weilong secretly commanded the other sect's death warriors, they also suffered heavy losses. In this way, our Shui Yan Pavilion's losses are not that great. After all, everyone has suffered losses, and the sect's higher-ups may not punish us. Moreover, recently, senior brother Zhou has repeatedly urged us to return as reinforcements. If we return late, it will not be good for the other sections." Junior brother Wang's last two sentences completely moved senior brother Zhao. The ferocious expression on his face finally faded a lot, and he lowered his head in contemplation. Everyone was secretly delighted. This 1 month of hunting down that Jinling brat could be said to have made them rack their brains. This brat was simply a freak. Not only was he a third-layer blood condensation realm cultivator, but his arcane energy was also so strong that it left everyone speechless. Moreover, they had to constantly be on guard against the counterattack of others if they were alone. Just as senior brother Zhao was hesitating about what to do next, an angry voice suddenly sounded. "Are we going to let that little bastard Jinling go just like that? Everyone, don't forget, we have 10 mid-blood condensation realm cultivators, 1 late blood condensation realm cultivator, and 11 cultivators. Yet, we can't even deal with a mere third-layer blood condensation realm cultivator. If this matter spreads out, how are we going to maintain our standing in our sects?" Chapter 117. Everyone looked at the person who spoke with disgust. This person was Xianling sect's Zhang Weiqing. When senior brother Zhao heard his words, he couldn't help but frown. "If that's the case, we'll chase him into the demon territory. Whether he's dead or alive, we'll return and help senior brother Zhou break through Jinling's encirclement." Senior brother Zhao finally made up his mind. Zhang Weiqing was very dissatisfied. He was bent on killing Lu Ping. Originally, he wanted to refute, but he realized that everyone was looking at him. He immediately realized that he was about to incur everyone's wrath, so he hurriedly said, "We'll listen to senior brother Zhao's orders." At this time, Lu Ping was riding the high-grade magic tool, Magic Cloud Bracelet, towards the east. Lu Ping still didn't know that his pursuers had decided to return after chasing him into the demon territory. At this time, he was still trying his best to increase his speed to avoid being caught by Shui Yan Pavilion's late blood condensation realm senior brother Zhao. Lu Ping was now sure that the other party definitely had a treasure that could track him. Otherwise, they wouldn't have been able to detect his movements for a month. Once Lu Ping changed directions, the other party would immediately surround him from the side. Once Lu Ping was entangled with the pursuers, the other cultivators would immediately rush over to help, and Lu Ping would be surrounded by everyone. For the past month, no matter how Lu Ping changed directions, he was still getting closer and closer to the demon territory's eastern sea. At this time, Lu Ping no longer changed directions. Since the other party could detect his movements at any time, Lu Ping could only throw caution to the wind and barge into the demon territory's sea. Perhaps he could cause the other party to have some misgivings and shake off his pursuers. 3 days later, a white cloud floated down to the surface of the sea. There was a vague figure standing on the white cloud. Lu Ping looked at the slightly undulating sea around him. This was the demon territory's sea. On the surface, it didn't look any different from the buffer zone. Lu Ping was admiring the scenery on the sea when suddenly, Lu Ping's divine sense transmitted a wave of magic power. It was under the sea. Just as Lu Ping focused, a water sword had already appeared on the surface of the sea behind him, heading straight for Lu Ping's chest. The water-repellent shield rose from Lu Ping's palm, turning into a wall of water that shimmered with light. When the water sword hit it, the wall of water rippled, turning the water sword into a part of itself. Lu Ping was just about to send his spiritual consciousness into the sea to explore the enemy under the sea when a black shadow broke through the surface of the water and rushed towards Lu Ping. The speed of the black shadow was extremely fast. Lu Ping hastily increased the amount of magic power he infused into the water-repellent shield. With a chi sound, a 3 chi long object that looked like a sharp flying sword pierced through half of the water wall. If Lu Ping did not increase the amount of magic power he infused, this high-grade defensive magic treasure would have been pierced through. After the water-repellent shield suffered a heavy blow, Lu Ping finally saw that it was a mid-blood condensation demonic beast, swordfish. This swordfish, including its sword-like mouth, was at least 3 meters long. Lu Ping pointed with his right hand, and the soaring winged sword flew towards the swordfish. When the swordfish missed its target, it had already jumped back into the sea when the soaring winged swords came to kill it. Lu Ping did not expect to be attacked by demonic beasts the moment he entered the demon territory. Just as he was using his spiritual consciousness to track the swordfish that jumped into the sea, Lu Ping's heart skipped a beat. Another black shadow had already rushed behind Lu Ping. The violent impact caused the water-repellent shield to shake. There was actually another swordfish demonic beast. This demonic beast was slightly smaller than the previous one, but the magic power around it clearly told Lu Ping that it was also a mid-blood condensation demonic beast. Before Lu Ping could react, this swordfish had already retreated back into the sea. With Lu Ping's spiritual consciousness, he could sense that these two demonic beasts did not retreat. Instead, they continued to wander around Lu Ping, waiting for an opportunity to attack again. Lu Ping was suddenly besieged by 2 mid-blood condensation demonic beasts. Although he had the water-repellent shield to defend against 2 attacks, the demonic beasts retreated quickly after missing their first attack. They did not engage in a fight with Lu Ping and instead followed him from behind, waiting for an opportunity to attack again. Lu Ping did not know how to deal with them for the time being. It was easy for Lu Ping to retreat. As long as he raised his cloud, these 2 demonic beasts in the sea would not be able to do anything to Lu Ping. However, Lu Ping's curiosity was piqued. He wanted to spar with these 2 demonic beasts, especially those 2 sword-like long beaks. Their attack power was no weaker than 2 high-grade magic tools. Lu Ping's spiritual consciousness moved and immediately sensed that a swordfish was already under his feet. It was rushing towards Lu Ping's feet with its head facing upwards. Lu Ping smiled. The water-repellent shield flowed under his feet, protecting Lu Ping tightly. At the same time, the soaring winged sword was ready to attack. As he spoke, Lu Ping's feet shook. The swordfish had already hit the water wall under Lu Ping's feet. The cloud-repellent shield bounced 3 feet into the air, and the soaring winged sword was already stabbing towards the swordfish from the front and back. With a ding sound, the long mouth of the swordfish sent the male sword flying. The other female sword was just about to cut the body of the swordfish when the other swordfish suddenly scuttled over and blocked with its long mouth, knocking the female sword to the side. It only managed to cut a half-foot-long gash on the body of the first swordfish. These two demonic beasts' cooperation is quite exquisite. Lu Ping withdrew the soaring wing sword that had failed in its attack. Looking at the rising blood-red ball on the surface of the sea, he exclaimed in admiration. Lu Ping controlled the cloud-repellent shield and pretended to run away. The two demonic beasts really fell for it. They followed behind Lu Ping and chased after him. Lu Ping pretended that his magic power was not enough. He put away the water-repellent shield that was hovering above his head. The two swordfish immediately jumped out of the sea and stabbed towards Lu Ping's back. Their long fish mouths flickered with a metallic luster. Lu Ping suddenly turned around. His face revealed a sly smile. Without waiting for the two demonic beasts to react, he raised his left hand and an object flew out from his storage ring. Facing the wind, it turned into a large net with a radius of several feet. It wrapped the two demonic beasts in midair. This large net was a mid-grade mystic instrument that Lu Ping obtained from his spoils of war. Lu Ping found it interesting and kept it by his side all this time. However, he had never used it before. This time, he succeeded in one fell swoop. Lu Ping originally wanted to capture the two demonic beasts alive. However, a tearing sound could be heard. The mid-grade mystic instrument's large net had been torn apart by the two demonic beasts' sharp mouths. After all, these were two mid-blood condensation realm demonic beasts. Lu Ping knew that his thinking was too simple. He quickly used the soaring wing sword to twist the net. The two demonic beasts lost their lives. However, Lu Ping's mid-grade mystic instrument was also completely torn apart by the two demonic beasts' final struggle. After dealing with the two demonic beasts, Lu Ping held the two long thorns in his hand to admire them. He planned to ask Chen Lian to forge a pair of high-grade flying thorns for him after returning to Huangli Island. These two long thorns could actually fight against his soaring wing sword. If they were forged into mystic instruments, their power would definitely be extraordinary. At this moment, a long laugh came from behind him. Ha, Jinling Brat is indeed extraordinary. Even two mid-blood condensation realm demonic beasts were taken care of by you. However, you will still die today. A ray of light flashed past. It was Senior Marshal Brother Zhao from Shui Yan Pavilion. Oh no! Lu Ping cursed. He was so focused on killing the two demonic beasts that he forgot about his pursuers. Senior Marshal Brother Zhao looked at Lu Ping in front of him and smiled proudly. Brat, you have been running for more than a month. In the end, you will still fall into my hands. Let's see where you can run to now. As he spoke, a person leaped out of the sea. It was Junior Marshal Brother Wang, who was wearing a diving suit. He raised a jade bottle and a squid leaped out of the sea. It was sucked into the jade bottle along with a stream of water. Lu Ping looked at the jade bottle in Junior Marshal Brother Wang's hand and said, "It must be thanks to this squid that you were able to track me for an entire month." Junior Marshal Brother Wang smiled proudly and said, "That's right. It was my spirit pet that tracked your aura. Brat, you should be proud of yourself for being able to hide for more than a month under the pursuit of more than a dozen cultivators who are stronger than you. But in the end, you will still die." A few more rays of light followed closely from the distant sea, heading towards Lu Ping. Lu Ping saw that the situation was hopeless. He flapped his soaring wing sword and charged towards Senior Marshal Brother Zhao and Senior Marshal Brother Wang. At the same time, the magic cloud under his feet rose from the sea and he fled into the distance. Senior Marshal Brother Zhao chuckled and said, "Still thinking of running?" Senior Marshal Brother Zhao and Junior Marshal Brother Wang chased after Lu Ping from the side. At the same time, they took out their magic tools and attacked Lu Ping. Lu Ping raised the water-repellent shield in front of him. Junior Marshall Brother Wang's mid-grade magic tool only caused some ripples when it hit the water wall. Senior Marshall Brother Zhao's high-grade magic tool was a wind bag. After it was opened, it spat out a strange wind, blowing the water wall of the water-repellent shield in all directions. In the blink of an eye, only a thin layer was left. Lu Ping's heart tightened. He knew that he was still not a match for a late-stage cultivator. Fortunately, his transcendence energy was far stronger than cultivators of the same level. Lu Ping hurriedly poured more transcendence energy into the water-repellent shield to maintain its water wall. Lu Ping's soaring wing sword's attack was completely blocked by Senior Marshall Brother Zhao, while Junior Marshall Brother Wang attacked Lu Ping with all his might. The 9 rays of light were getting closer and closer. Once they surrounded Lu Ping, no matter how powerful Lu Ping was, he wouldn't be able to escape alive. Lu Ping made up his mind and changed the direction of his soaring wing swords. He let go of Senior Marshall Brother Zhao and cast stone-piercing sky sword art towards Junior Marshall Brother Wang. Junior Marshall Brother Wang didn't expect Lu Ping to give up on Senior Marshall Brother Zhao and attack him instead. He hurriedly took out his defensive magic tool and kept the other magic tool in front of him to block Lu Ping's attack. After more than a month of pursuit, Junior Marshall Brother Wang and the others knew that this Xinling cultivator in front of them couldn't be judged by common sense. Anyone who treated him as an ordinary early blood condensation cultivator would be at a disadvantage. However, Lu Ping seemed to have made up his mind to drag Junior Marshall Brother Wang down with him. He only used the water-repellent shield to block Senior Marshall Brother Zhao's attack. A pair of soaring wing swords greeted Junior Marshall Brother Wang, completely engulfing him in Lu Ping's sword wave. Chapter 118. Lu Ping allowed Senior Brother Zhao's attacks to whittle down the water-repellent shield until only a thin layer was left. Just as the shield was about to break, Lu Ping turned his soaring swords into a monstrous wave and trapped Junior Brother Wang in it. It was obvious that Lu Ping was like a cornered beast. Just as the two saw that Lu Ping was about to be surrounded and killed by everyone, a huge metal stamp suddenly appeared in the sky and smashed towards Junior Brother Wang's defensive shield. Although it was a surprise attack, and no one expected Lu Ping to be able to control 3 high-grade magic tools at the same time with his third-layer blood condensation cultivation, they had seen Lu Ping's landslide when they were chasing after Lu Ping. Hence, even though Junior Brother Wang was shocked, he didn't panic too much because he had Senior Brother Zhao, who was at the late blood condensation realm, to help him. A loud sound rang out, and Junior Brother Wang's defensive shield wailed after being smashed by the landslide. It turned into a palm-sized wooden shield and landed in Junior Brother Wang's hands. The shield was already covered in cracks, and Junior Brother Wang spat out a mouthful of blood. Another crisp sound rang out, and the water wall formed by Lu Ping's water-repellent shield was also shattered by Senior Brother Zhao's attack. Fortunately, the water-repellent shield was a high-grade magic tool. Even though the water wall was broken, the magic tool wasn't seriously damaged. As long as Lu Ping used his arcane energy to nourish it for a period of time, it would recover. Lu Ping raised his hands and threw out 2 water escape talismans, barely blocking Senior Brother Zhao's attack. A blood-red mid-grade magic tool flew towards Junior Brother Wang, who was trying his best to block Lu Ping's dual swords. Junior Marshall Brother Wang was already injured after Lu Ping broke through his defense. Now, he was barely able to block Lu Ping's attacks. Seeing Lu Ping launching another mystic instrument at him, Junior Marshall Brother Wang hurriedly took out another defensive mystic instrument to block the attack. Although this mystic instrument didn't cast any spells, its speed was still extremely fast. Senior Brother Zhao waved his hand and broke Lu Ping's 2 water escape talismans. When he saw Lu Ping's blood-red magic tool flying towards Junior Brother Wang, his expression changed, and he hurriedly warned, "Careful, dodge, don't block." Senior Marshall Brother Zhao's warning was too late. Just as the 2 mystic instruments collided, a loud explosion rang out. Lu Ping's blood-red mystic instrument suddenly exploded, shattering Junior Marshall Brother Wang's backup mystic instrument into pieces. The fragments of the mystic instrument flew everywhere. Junior brother Wang bore the brunt of the attack. Although he tried his best to block, he was still hit by 2 of the fragments. One of them broke his ribs, and the other scraped off a piece of flesh from his thigh. Junior brother Wang grimaced in pain and howled miserably. Lu Ping's soaring wing sword took this opportunity to break through junior brother Wang's obstruction. As junior brother Wang screamed in despair, Lu Ping's sword pierced through his heart. At this moment, senior brother Zhao's wind bag blew out a black wind. Lu Ping only had enough time to use a water manipulation spell to create a curtain of water on the surface of the sea. However, it was still unable to block the black wind's attack. Lu Ping suddenly felt his whole body shiver. When this black wind blew on his body, although he had the protection of the spirit snake armor, Lu Ping still felt a chill from his bone marrow. At the same time, his 5 viscera and 6 bowels also felt uncomfortable. He knew that he had been plotted against. Lu Ping quickly circulated his magic power in his body. After a round of inspection, he knew that due to the protection of the spirit snake armor, his injuries were not serious. As long as he had some time, he could use his magic power to expel the cold poison from his body. Although it was inconvenient, Lu Ping could use his profound magic power to suppress it. For a while, there would not be any problems. The reason why Lu Ping killed junior brother Wang was because he wanted to stop junior brother Wang from using his spirit pet to track him. Now that junior brother Wang was dead, his spirit pet would not survive either. Lu Ping used his soaring wing sword to create waves, blocking the strange wind from senior brother Zhao's wind bag. Then, he turned around and fled into the depths of the demon sea. Just as Lu Ping was about to activate his magic cloud wrap to escape, a gray light had already landed in front of Lu Ping. A flying sword was flying towards him. Lu Ping had no choice but to stop and use the goose feather blades that he hadn't used for a long time to knock the flying sword away. The light flashed and landed in front of Lu Ping. It was Xianling Sect's Zhang Weiqing with a pale face. He had obviously used a secret technique to stop Lu Ping before the other cultivators could. Although the crowd didn't know what kind of grudge Zhang Weiqing had with Lu Ping that made him risk his life to stop Lu Ping, now that someone was standing up for him, they were more than happy to enjoy the fruits of their labor. Lu Ping, on the other hand, had a rough idea of Zhang Weiqing's motives. After the trip to Fei Ling Island, Zhang Weiqing lost half of his loot in the treasure competition with Zhenling's sect and was demoted to a cultivator awaiting punishment. Originally, this treasure competition was decided by the 2 sects, so Zhang Weiqing's loss wasn't a big deal. He could only blame the fact that Fei Ling Island's harvest was the largest ever, and even the core forging cultivators present were greedy. What was worse was that the appearance of 2 spirit treasures made Zhang Weiqing fall into the abyss. In a fit of rage, Feng Sudao directly threw Zhang Weiqing into the group of cultivators awaiting punishment and made him a death warrior of Xianling sect. This was also the reason why Zhang Weiqing hated Lu Ping to the bone. Lu Ping didn't expect Zhang Weiqing to use such an extreme method to cut off his escape route. Lu Ping's original plan was to kill his way out before the others could surround him. This was also the reason why he took the risk to kill junior brother Wang so that no one would be able to track him. But now, Lu Ping was trapped like a turtle in a jar. Naturally, his heart was filled with shock and anger. Looking at the expression on Lu Ping's face, Zhang Weiqing's heart was filled with the thrill of revenge. He laughed and said, "Lu Ping, to think that you would have such a day." At this time, Lu Ping was already surrounded by the people who had rushed over. Lu Ping didn't say a word, but the soaring wing swords circled around him. Today could be said to be the biggest calamity of his life. Surrounded by enemies, he could only fight to the death. Although he still had some tricks up his sleeves, whether he could escape or not depended on the will of the heavens. At this time, a wave of applause came from all directions, and an indistinct voice rang out, "Not bad, not bad." We, the Overturned Oceans gang, originally planned to return to the buffer zone to rest for a while, but who would have thought that we would run into such a good show? The mantis stalks the cicada, unaware of the oriole behind. I wonder if we can join in the fun. Everyone panicked, and even Lu Ping's heart sank. Senior Marshal Brother Zhao shouted, "Who is so sneaky? Don't you know that it's the North Sea Mistwater Pavilion, Xianling's sect, and the other sects? Quickly show yourself." The voice sounded out once more, and it chuckled lightly as it said, "Mistwater Pavilion? Xianling's sect? What's so great about that? I've never heard of it before. Since you want to see my overturned oceans gang, then let's fulfill your wish." As soon as the voice finished speaking, there was a wave of arcane energy on the surface of the water. The scenery around them twisted and shattered, but the scenery on the surface of the sea didn't change much. Outside of the cultivators surrounding Lu Ping, another 20 cultivators dressed in different attire appeared, surrounding Lu Ping, Senior Marshal Brother Zhao, and the rest. The 5 cultivators in the lead were all late blood condensation cultivators with immense arcane energy. This was an illusion array with a large area of effect. Everyone was inside the array and had been fighting for a long time, but they didn't realize that they were already in danger. Senior Marshal Brother Zhao lowered his head and pondered for a moment. Suddenly, he understood something and said, "You must be the demon race's mysterious sea god pirate force that was rumored by the cultivators who went out to sea. You must be the same as us, here to disrupt the order of Zhenling Sect's ocean domain. Since we have the same goal, we shouldn't clash with each other and let Zhenling Sect take advantage of us." He pointed at Lu Ping and said, "This time, we're here to hunt down Zhenling's spy. If we let this spy escape, Zhenling will definitely hunt us and your gang down. If your gang is willing, we can give this Zhenling cultivator to your gang as a gift for our first meeting. What do you think?" The leader of the 5 late blood condensation cultivators glanced at Lu Ping and chuckled. Interesting. An early blood condensation cultivator was actually chased by more than 10 cultivators who are far stronger than him. From the looks of it, the pursuit wasn't short either. One of them was even killed right in front of a late blood condensation cultivator. How interesting. Senior Marshal Brother Zhao and the others who were chasing after Lu Ping blushed. On the other hand, Lu Ping's heart tightened. He felt that this person's tone wasn't friendly. As expected, the leader's tone changed and his killing intent soared. "In that case, all of you can die now. This way, Zhenling won't receive any news. Even Shui Yan Pavilion and Xianling Sect will think that all of you died in Zhenling's hands. Isn't that great?" As soon as the leader finished speaking, the surrounding cultivators from the overflowing sea sect used their magic tools and spells to attack the people who were being surrounded. 3 of the 5 late blood condensation cultivators went to surround Senior Marshal Brother Zhao. Senior Marshal Brother Zhao shouted anxiously, "Everyone, split up and break out of the encirclement. Every single one of us who can escape counts. Report to your respective sects what happened today. Investigate the overflowing sea sect thoroughly and avenge us." The leader's expression changed when he heard Senior Marshal Brother Zhao's words. He knew that he had said something wrong. He sneered. "Do you think you can still live today?" The overflowing sea sect had the absolute advantage. Usually, 2 or 3 of them were chasing after one person. The sound of magic tools and spells exploding could be heard everywhere. The screams of cultivators dying could be heard from time to time. When the overflowing sea sect's cultivators attacked, Lu Ping forcefully activated his damaged water repellent shield and fled towards the depths of the demon sea. Lu Ping didn't dare to turn back. When the 5 late-stage overflowing sea sect cultivators appeared, they were all standing on the surface of the sea to the west, cutting off everyone's path of retreat. Lu Ping didn't want to fight against late-stage overflowing sea sect cultivators. However, while Lu Ping was hiding from the late-stage overflowing sea sect cultivators, he didn't expect that one of the late-stage overflowing sea sect cultivators would come looking for Lu Ping. Lu Ping managed to kill the mid-stage blood condensation junior Marshal Brother Wang despite being attacked by senior Marshal Brother Zhao. This shocked the overflowing sea sect cultivators who were hiding at the side. Even though the overflowing sea sect cultivators looked down on the North Sea cultivators, they still sent a late-stage blood condensation cultivator to chase after Lu Ping. Lu Ping groaned inwardly. He knew that his performance was too heaven-defying, which attracted the attention of the overflowing sea sect cultivators. However, his life was more important now. He couldn't care less. With a flip of his hand, he tossed a blood-red mid-grade magic tool behind him and slapped a water escape talisman on his body. Instantly, his body seemed to transform into a stream of water, flying across the sea. Chapter 119. The late blood condensation realm cultivator from the overflowing sea sect looked at the incoming blood sacrifice Dharma artifact and smiled. "I knew you had this trick up your sleeve." As he said that, he threw a low-grade Dharma artifact. The low-grade Dharma artifact filled with magic power collided with the mid-grade Dharma artifact that Lu Ping had sacrificed. Amidst the loud explosion, a high-grade Dharma artifact in the shape of a clamshell wrapped around the cultivator. The overflowing sea sect cultivator weaved through the fragments of the Dharma artifact and chased after Lu Ping. Lu Ping finished using his water escape talisman. When he jumped out of the sea and looked back, the cultivator was already hot on his heels. Without another word, Lu Ping used another water escape talisman, which turned into a stream of water and flew forward. When Lu Ping was in the first layer of the blood condensation realm, he had managed to escape from a late blood condensation realm cultivator from Xianling sect. However, at that time, Lu Ping had a high-grade blood escape talisman. Furthermore, the Xianling sect cultivator who was chasing Lu Ping was not as strong as this overflowing sea sect cultivator. Moreover, Lu Ping was still injured. When Lu Ping jumped out of the sea again, a clump of seaweed suddenly rose from the sea and wrapped around Lu Ping's body. When he turned around, he realized that the overflowing sea sect cultivator had not been left behind. Instead, he had caught up to Lu Ping by a few dozen feet. Lu Ping swept the soaring winged sword under his feet and instantly broke free from the shackles on his body. However, this brief moment gave the overflowing sea sect cultivator enough time to catch up to Lu Ping. He placed a shallow plate in front of his mouth and breathed out a mouthful of magic power. The small particles on the plate were immediately blown into the air, transforming into dandelion-like objects that floated towards Lu Ping. Although their speed was slow, the sky full of flying feathers made it impossible for Lu Ping to dodge. At that moment, Lu Ping's body was wounded and he had exhausted a considerable amount of his magic power. Thus, Lu Ping dared not stop for even a moment. One soaring winged sword was in front of him while the other was behind him. He did his best to block off the omnipresent flying feathers. As for the magic cloud bracelet beneath his feet, he unleashed the wave-treading technique and charged out. Lu Ping gave it his all, but in the end, he was still incapable of dodging the flying feathers. Several of the flying feathers landed on Lu Ping's body. Instantly, countless fine roots extended out to stab into Lu Ping's clothes. Thankfully, Lu Ping had the inner armor on his upper body to protect himself. Thus, most of the flying feathers that landed on his body failed to stab into Lu Ping's skin. Only 2 of the flying feathers landed on Lu Ping's arm. Instantly, Lu Ping felt an itch on his arm and the faint magic power within his body was sucked out by the roots that the flying feathers had pierced into his body. At the same time, Lu Ping's body turned sluggish. It felt as though his whole body had sunk into water. Even just walking would require a great deal of effort. Lu Ping struggled to break free from the flying feathers. Channeling his magic power, he shook off the 2 flying feathers on his arm. Seeing that the cultivators from Overturned Sea's faction were about to arrive, Lu Ping could no longer care about anything else. He channeled his magic power into his meridians and he coughed out a mouthful of blood. Using the blood as a guide, Lu Ping utilized the magic cloud bracelet to activate the wave-treading technique, transforming it into a blood escape technique. Instantly, Lu Ping's figure disappeared from the surface of the ocean. All that was left in the sky above the ocean was a fading red light. The cultivator from Overturned Sea's faction's face sank and he swiftly pointed at the surface of the ocean. Next, a wooden boat appeared on the surface of the ocean. The cultivator stepped onto the wooden boat and it transformed into a beam of cyan-colored light as it flew towards the direction that Lu Ping had gone. Lu Ping activated the 3 secret techniques at the same time to cover a distance of tens of li in just one breath's worth of time. When he emerged from the surface of the ocean, Lu Ping, who was grievously wounded, coughed out a second mouthful of blood. No matter what, this mouthful of blood must not go to waste. For safety's sake, Lu Ping made use of this mouthful of blood to activate the blood escape technique again. This time, however, he did not activate all 3 techniques at the same time. Tens of li away, Lu Ping had just stopped on the surface of the ocean when he heard a sharp screech coming from above. It was a flying demonic beast that saw Lu Ping trespassing into its territory. Thus, it flew towards Lu Ping's head and pecked at him. Lu Ping used his divine sense to scan the demonic beast. It turned out to be a 6th-layer blood condensation realm demonic beast. When Lu Ping was in good condition, he naturally wouldn't be afraid of it. But now that Lu Ping's injuries had worsened, and the demonic beast had the advantage of flight, he could only turn around and continue fleeing. Lu Ping ordered the demonic beast to chase him for tens of li before he flapped his wings twice and circled twice in the sky before turning back. Lu Ping finally had a chance to catch his breath. However, before he could fly for more than a few li, a huge wave soared into the sky, drawing an arc in the air and crashing towards Lu Ping. A huge fish leaped out of the water. It turned out to be a strange fish with a mouth that occupied half of its body. Lu Ping moved sideways to avoid the water wave. The big fish emerged from the water and spat out a stream of arcane energy at Lu Ping again. Lu Ping didn't know what to do. Lu Ping used his divine sense to scan the fish. It turned out to be a 4th-layer blood condensation realm demonic beast. Lu Ping was seriously injured. After using the blood escape technique twice, Lu Ping was almost at the end of his rope. He was in a hurry to find a safe place to recuperate. In addition, he was in a dangerous place like the demon territory. He really didn't have the mood to stay and deal with the demonic beasts. Lu Ping retracted the arcane energy in his body and used his magic cloud circle to avoid the strange fish. He randomly chose a direction and continued fleeing in the demon territory. Along the way, Lu Ping would be attacked by a blood condensation demonic beast every few tens or hundreds of li. The demonic beasts in the blood condensation realm occupied different territories according to their strength. Lu Ping relied on his large divine sense range and magic cloud circle speed to dodge the attacks. Finally, at a place that even Lu Ping didn't know, he encountered a 2nd-layer blood condensation realm demonic beast. Lu Ping thought for a while and released Lu Dague. He used his divine sense to give it a few instructions. Blood condensation realm demonic beasts had already gained sentience. Although they couldn't speak, they could communicate with human cultivators through their divine sense. Moreover, Lu Dague was Lu Ping's spirit pet, so it obeyed Lu Ping's orders. Lu Dague's 3-meter-long body floated on the surface of the sea. Its long neck extended out of its shell and it let out a low growl at the crab. This was a challenge horn between demonic beasts. The crab's cultivation was higher than Lu Dague's. The only thing it feared was the human cultivator beside it. However, Lu Dague's provocation had completely angered the crab. Demonic beasts had a stricter hierarchy than humans. The stronger demonic beasts would always have a higher status than the weaker ones. The law of the jungle was the law of the jungle. Lu Dague's provocation was an unforgivable mistake in the crab's eyes. This sea turtle had to pay with its life. The crab waved its 2 large pincers. Its 3-meter-long body took a few steps on the surface of the sea and arrived in front of Lu Dague. One of its pincers swiped at the sea. Lu Dague only had enough time to use his 4 limbs to create a wave to block the attack. However, with the protection of Lu Ping's wings, Lu Dague clearly lacked experience in fighting against demonic beasts. The crab's pincers effortlessly scattered the wave and lifted Lu Dague up from the surface of the sea. The crab took another step forward and its other pincer was already aiming for Lu Dague's neck. Lu Dague instinctively pulled his neck back into the shell. At the same time, he threw himself into the sea. The pincers scraped against the shell, creating a grinding sound that made people's teeth hurt. In just a few rounds, Lu Dague was forced into the shell by the crab's attacks. No matter how the crab attacked him, he couldn't fight back. Fortunately, Lu Dague had a natural technique. The crab couldn't do anything to him. Lu Ping watched from the side as the two demonic beasts fought. At first, he didn't show any signs of interfering. In fact, this was Lu Ping deliberately giving Lu Dague a chance to train. Since he had become Lu Ping's spirit pet, he naturally couldn't just be a mount on the sea. A spirit pet's other identity was to be a cultivator's fighter. The result of the fight made Lu Ping very dissatisfied. Other than the hard shell, Lu Dague didn't have any good points. Of course, this was related to the crab's first layer blood condensation cultivation. However, Lu Dague's ordinary bloodline was also one of the reasons. His background and talent were far inferior to the three green sea snakes. Lu Ping reluctantly released the soaring winged swords. The two swords circled around the crab. Before the demonic beast could defend itself, 2-meter-long pincers were already cut off by Lu Ping. Lu Ping put them away. These two large pincers were the only parts of the crab that could pique Lu Ping's interest. When Lu Dague saw its master stepping forward to help, its morale was immediately boosted. The turtle that was hiding on the sea surface was suddenly lifted into the air by a wave. The huge turtle shell immediately spun and slammed into the crab that had its pincers chopped off. After a loud bang, Lu Dague smashed into the sea surface and only splashed up a few feet of water. On the other hand, the crab's two eyeballs were smashed by the turtle shell. Blood splattered everywhere. When Lu Ping saw that the crab couldn't fight back anymore, he released Lu Dabeo and the 3 spirit snakes. The 5 demonic beasts worked together and devoured the second layer blood condensation realm demonic beast in no time. At this time, Lu Ping had already found the crab's nest under a coral reef. Lu Ping cast a spell and cleaned up the lair. He urgently needed a safe place to recuperate from his injuries, which was why he asked Lu Dague to challenge the crab. This way, after Lu Dague killed the crab, he would become the little lord of this area. Not only that, with his new identity, he wouldn't attract too much attention from the other monsters. This way, Lu Ping would be able to recuperate without being discovered by the other monsters. He ordered Lu Dague to patrol the crab's territory and announced to other demonic beasts that Lu Dague was the lord of this area. At the same time, he told Lu Dabeo and the 3 spirit snakes not to run around in Lu Dague's territory. After that, Lu Ping swallowed a high-grade essence recovery pill that was worth nearly 1,000 spirit stones and started to recover from his injuries. Chapter 120. Although the change of the lord of this generation had attracted the attention of some nearby blood condensation realm demonic beasts, Lu Dague's identity as a blood condensation realm demonic beast, in addition to the 3 green sea snakes and Lu Dabeo's assistance, allowed Lu Dague to successfully declare his sovereignty as the lord of the nearby seas. Due to Lu Dague's cowering tactics, the other early blood condensation realm demonic beasts could not do anything to him. In the end, the challenges were left unsettled. Lu Ping had been escaping and fighting for more than a month. He had challenged those who were stronger than him several times, causing his injuries to be quite severe. He could not be bothered with the actions of Lu Dague and the other spiritual pets in the sea. He only ordered them to guard the Lord's territory and protect him. Fortunately, Lu Ping always had a high-quality healing pill on him just in case. With the help of a vitality replenishing pill worth nearly 1,000 spirit stones, Lu Ping spent 7 days to stabilize his injuries. With the help of several ordinary vitality replenishing pills, Lu Ping's injuries gradually recovered. Just like that, 3 months passed in the crab's nest. Lu Ping finally recovered from his injuries. After recovering, Lu Ping was not in a hurry to leave the demon territory and return to Huangli Island. This time, Lu Ping was being hunted. Obviously, someone had deliberately leaked his whereabouts. Although he would be safe if he returned now, it would also allow the person who was plotting against him to hide even more deeply. These people obviously would not let him go just because their scheme failed once. If they failed this time, their next scheme would only be more secretive, more ruthless, and relentless. Lu Ping had a chance to escape the first time, but he might not be able to escape the second time. Now, Lu Ping could only hide in the dark and let people think that he had fallen in the demon territory. This way, the person who was plotting against him would be careless and let their guard down. More importantly, after this period of continuous battles on the sea, Lu Ping felt that he had gained a lot. His cultivation was about to take another leap forward. At the same time, he had fought with mid and late blood condensation cultivators. Although the results were enough to make Lu Ping proud among the early blood condensation cultivators, the cruel reality made Lu Ping deeply feel that he was still weak in terms of cultivation. Lu Ping felt an increasing urgency to improve his cultivation. This was an opportunity. Currently, the demon territory that Lu Ping was in didn't have a high cultivation base. With Lu Dague as his cover, Lu Ping could focus on cultivating in the demon territory for a period of time. Fortunately, he had collected a lot of cultivation pills for early blood condensation cultivators. Although the lack of a spirit vein would affect his cultivation, leaving Huangli Island would also allow him to avoid the troubles of the sect and save him a lot of cultivation time. With the support of sufficient cultivation pills, Lu Ping spent another year accumulating his spiritual energy to the peak of the third level of the blood condensation realm. Inside the lair, Lu Ping took out a jade box made of spirit jade from his storage ring. This jade box was specially used to store some valuable cultivation items. It could greatly preserve the spiritual energy of the items inside the box. Lu Ping opened the jade box. Inside were 4 scarlet condensed blood beads the size of peanuts. There was also a slightly smaller condensed blood bead. The surface of the bead also had a faint glow. These 5 condensed blood beads were left behind by the 2 green sea snakes that died in Lu Ping's hands. One of the 4th level blood condensation realm spirit snakes left behind 4 larger beads. The other one was left behind by a 3rd level blood condensation realm spirit snake. The other 2 beads were destroyed by the spirit snake's self-destruction. Advancing from the 3rd level of the blood condensation realm to the 4th level of the blood condensation realm was a watershed for a cultivator to advance from the early blood condensation realm to the mid-blood condensation realm. The most important thing about this watershed was that the cultivator no longer had to use their foundation bloodline to fuse with the spiritual energy of other bloodlines in their body and then expel the wasted bloodlines. Instead, they had to use an external bloodline that had the same origin as the foundation bloodline to make up for the deficiency in the foundation bloodline. This in itself was a kind of purification and strengthening of the foundation bloodline. After all, as the cultivator's cultivation increased, the spiritual energy contained in the auxiliary bloodlines that had yet to be fused with would also increase. The higher the cultivator's cultivation, the more difficult it would be to fuse with the auxiliary bloodline. This required the absolute strengthening of the foundation bloodline to be able to balance the other auxiliary bloodlines. The so-called blood condensation realm actually had 2 meanings. The first was to fuse with the spiritual energy of other bloodlines and expel the wasted bloodlines that had lost their spiritual energy. The second was to fuse with an external bloodline that had the same origin as the foundation bloodline to strengthen the foundation bloodline and make up for the deficiency in the foundation bloodline. The best choice to use an external bloodline to make up for the foundation bloodline was naturally the condensed blood bead. However, regardless of whether it was a cultivator or a demon, the condensed blood bead was a treasure that concerned their lives. After a cultivator died, very few condensed blood beads would be left behind. Lu Ping had obtained several condensed blood beads after killing Qiao Shipeng. It couldn't be denied that his luck was heaven-defying. However, when Lu Ping went on a killing spree in the seas around Xianqi Island, Fei Ling Island, and the buffer zone, he didn't even obtain a single condensed blood bead. This showed how difficult it was to obtain a condensed blood bead. Lu Ping's foundation bloodline was the water-attributed Jiao bloodline. Lu Ping also focused on cultivating pure water techniques. Even if he slowed down his cultivation speed, he still had to ensure that the spiritual energy he cultivated was pure and thick. Therefore, Lu Ping was extremely cautious when it came to fusing with external bloodlines. The reason why the green sea snakes were able to become nobles among the demon race was naturally due to their relatively pure Jiao bloodline. These two green sea snakes happened to have the water-attributed Jiao bloodline, so they were the perfect items for Lu Ping to fuse with to replenish his foundation bloodline. There was another reason why Lu Ping chose the green sea snake bloodline. Because of the seventh patriarch, every living creature in this world had 7 types of bloodlines in their blood. As one of the 7 types of bloodlines, the Jiao bloodline allowed the Jiao bloodline to enjoy a supreme status in this world. However, in Lu Ping's innate knowledge, the Jiao bloodline was just a type of Jiao bloodline. Above it, there was another type of Jiao bloodline, and that was the dragon. Lu Ping didn't know if dragons existed in this world. At the very least, there were no legends about dragons among the cultivators of this world. According to the legends of the world that Lu Ping came from, if dragons really existed, then the Jiao bloodline was just a branch of the dragon's bloodline. After Lu Ping entered the blood condensation realm, he carefully researched the legends of the Jiao bloodline in this world. He collected all kinds of pictures of the Jiao bloodline and studied them carefully. However, the results disappointed Lu Ping greatly. These pictures of the Jiao bloodline were strange and had all kinds of images of Jiao bloodlines. This puzzled Lu Ping. After asking Master Immortal Lu and perfected Jiang Xianlin, Lu Ping found out that these images of the Jiao bloodline came from the Jiao bloodline's Dharma form, Laozu. After a cultivator finished forging his golden core would merge with his divine will and transform into a Dharma form. The cultivator would then advance to the Dharma form realm. The image of the Dharma idol was the image of different Dharma adepts in the blood condensation realm. They had different understandings of different bloodlines and true spirits. The source of these understandings was the fusion of foreign bloodlines during the blood condensation realm. When a cultivator fused with the same type of Jiao bloodline, his magic power and divine will would undergo some hidden changes. These changes would only appear after the cultivator reached the Dharma form realm and achieved Dharma form. Since Lu Ping had another identity, his deep-rooted view from the other world caused him to have another thought. This thought made him look down on the so-called Jiao bloodline. Instead, he set his sights on a creature that didn't even exist in this world. He was actually gambling. Gambling on this unknown but real creature. He ordered Lu Dague and the other spiritual pets to guard the lair that Lu Ping used for seclusion. Lu Ping swallowed one of the 4th-level condensed blood beads using the special refining method of the North Sea Wave listening mantra. He slowly stripped the magic power and bloodline essence from the condensed blood bead and refined them into Lu Ping's foundation bloodline. Refining the condensed blood bead was a slow process. It required the cultivator's foundation bloodline to completely fuse with the condensed blood bead's bloodline essence and arcane energy. This process would inevitably cause some pain during the fusion process, which often made the cultivator wish they were dead. This was recorded in detail in the blood condensation realm's cultivation process, and Lu Ping was prepared to face this challenge. However, the fusion process made Lu Ping speechless again. Lu Ping's foundation bloodline once again displayed its unparalleled dominance. It directly devoured everything that was stripped from the condensed blood bead, causing the originally slow fusion process to accelerate greatly. At the same time, the discomfort that accompanied the fusion process didn't appear at all. This process once again allowed Lu Ping to witness the strength of his foundation bloodline after it mutated. However, this condensed blood bead only brought Lu Ping one step closer to the mid-stage blood condensation realm. It was far from allowing Lu Ping to break through to the 4th level. Lu Ping was already prepared for this. He directly placed the second condensed blood bead in his mouth. The best way for a blood condensation cultivator to advance to the next level was naturally to refine a condensed blood bead. However, there were different ways to refine a condensed blood bead. Most cultivators could only refine a condensed blood bead that matched their cultivation level. For example, a third-level blood condensation cultivator could refine a condensed blood bead that matched their cultivation level. Of course, it was better to refine a condensed blood bead that matched a condensed blood bead. However, refining a condensed blood bead was different. Most cultivators could only refine a condensed blood bead that matched their cultivation level. For example, a third-level blood condensation cultivator could only refine 1 or 2 condensed blood beads to break through to the mid-stage blood condensation realm. After Lu Ping combined the sea wave listening scripture and sea flying spirits treading the sea into the North Sea wave listening scripture, his arcane energy, which was already incomparably dense compared to other cultivators in the same realm, became even more abundant. Even a pure fourth-layer condensed blood bead couldn't help Lu Ping break through to the mid-blood condensation realm. Only after refining the third condensed blood bead did Lu Ping feel that he had truly touched the barrier of the mid-stage blood condensation realm. Lu Ping felt as though he could step into this realm at any time. However, this barrier in front of Lu Ping just couldn't be broken through. Without any hesitation, Lu Ping placed the fourth condensed blood bead into his mouth. His tyrannical foundation bloodline stripped away everything inside the condensed blood bead and devoured it completely. Surging magic energy filled his blood. Accompanied by the powerful throbbing of his heart, the magic energy flowed through his entire body like a flood. The 3 condensed blood beads in his heart core finally grew to their maximum size. There was a ripple in space, and the 4th condensed blood bead condensed out of thin air. Endless magic energy and bloodline essences gathered around the 4th condensed blood bead, causing it to grow to half the size of the other 3 condensed blood beads. Just as Lu Ping condensed the 4th condensed blood bead and successfully stepped into the mid-stage blood condensation realm, the spiritual energy in essence in his blood finally permeated every part of his body. Finally, it strengthened Lu Ping's body. Surging essence energy surged out of his body and gathered above Lu Ping's head, forming a straight pillar of essence energy smoke. Chapter 121. By the time Lu Ping stabilized his 4th-level blood condensation realm cultivation, it had been 2 years since he left Huangli Island. After exiting seclusion, Lu Ping planned to return to Huangli Island immediately to investigate the mastermind who leaked his whereabouts. In fact, Lu Ping already had his suspicions about the mastermind. However, the mastermind was from a cultivator family and had a complicated background. If Lu Ping didn't have any concrete evidence, he wouldn't be able to move these people. Instead, it would arouse their suspicions and cause them to attack him again. Anyway, with Lu Ping's demonic beast identity as a cover and the early blood condensation realm demonic beasts gathering in this area, there wouldn't be any factors that could threaten Lu Ping's safety. Therefore, Lu Ping was able to practice his alchemy skills here without any qualms. After all, Lu Ping's alchemy skills took another leap after he advanced to the mid-blood condensation realm. Now, Lu Ping's success rate in refining late blood refining realm pills had reached 50% to 60%. In other words, Lu Ping had basically met the requirements to concoct blood condensation realm pills. Lu Ping originally planned to concoct blood condensation realm pills after he reached 70% success rate in refining late blood refining realm pills. This was because, according to Lu Ping's past experience, the failure rate of concocting a new type of pill was extremely high. Unfortunately, Lu Ping had already used up all the blood refining realm spirit herbs he had on him. In the alchemy profession, all cultivators who practiced alchemy were divided into 5 classes. Starting from the apprentice alchemist, the apprentice alchemist, the apprentice alchemist, the apprentice alchemist, and the apprentice alchemist who successfully concocted blood refining realm pills under the guidance of their master would be called an apprentice alchemist. 80% of cultivators who wanted to become alchemists were stuck at the apprentice alchemist level. Even if they successfully concocted blood condensation realm pills, they wouldn't be called an alchemist. Only apprentices who successfully concocted blood condensation pills would be considered alchemist masters. The difficulty of concocting blood condensation pills was not any lower than concocting late blood condensation realm pills. When an alchemist could successfully refine elixirs for core forging stage cultivators, then he could be called an alchemy master. Legend has it that if an alchemist could refine elixirs for transcendent stage ancestors, then he could be called an alchemy grandmaster. Even Dharma adepts had to be courteous to such cultivators. Their status in the cultivation world was no less than that of Dharma adepts, and they were highly sought after by various sections. Lu Ping had quite a lot of spiritual herbs that could be used to concoct blood condensation realm pills. Most of them were harvested from Fei Ling Island. Now, they could finally be put to good use. In the past 2 years, Lu Ping finally managed to maintain a 30% success rate in concocting blood condensation realm pills. However, the price he paid was that Lu Ping wasted almost half of the 4,500-year-old spiritual herbs that Lu Ping had. If an alchemist were to find out about this, they would probably fight him to the death. This was the disadvantage of not having a master to guide him. Even though Lu Ping had received the alchemist's inheritance and obtained a lot of pill recipes, he still needed to ponder and discover everything by himself. It was inevitable that he would have to pay a higher tuition fee than other apprentices. The only one who benefited from this was Lu Dague. Since Lu Ping's cultivation had reached the mid-blood condensation realm, the effects of early blood condensation realm pills were too weak for Lu Ping, who had abundant arcane energy. In addition, Lu Ping still had some mid-blood condensation realm pills with him. Therefore, he gave these early blood condensation realm pills to the loyal Lu Dague. Lu Dague, who had an ordinary aptitude, successfully stabilized his cultivation in the second level of the blood condensation realm in 2 years. The cultivation of the other spiritual pets also improved. De Bao finally broke through to the late blood refining realm and reached the 8th level. The improvement of the 3 spiritual snakes made Lu Ping exclaim in admiration. As expected of the green sea snake, it successfully broke through to the late blood refining realm and reached the 7th level in just 2 short years. Initially, De Bao and Samling were the most active. At first, De Bao could still gain the upper hand when playing with Samling because of his superior cultivation. But now, De Bao was no longer a match for any of the spiritual snakes. Even though his cultivation was 1 level higher than Samling, De Bao's forte was obviously not fighting. Instead, he was good at escaping. Even when Samling teamed up to surround him, he still managed to slip away. Lu Ping didn't care much about his spirit pets other than their cultivation bases. They were all monster beasts, so they were born with a wild nature. If he tried too hard, it would affect their growth. Finally, Lu Ping tried to concoct the blood-condensing pill. Lu Ping embedded 4 mid-grade spirit stones into the spirit-gathering plate that contained the blue spiritual fire. At the same time, he formed a set of fire-controlling hand seals. This was a fire-controlling technique recorded in the Flourishing Wave Pill scripture. It could make it easier for a cultivator to control the intensity of the flame and the temperature of the flame. Above the flame was a mid-grade cauldron that was already preheated. Lu Ping followed the sequence recorded in the recipe and placed the 24 500-year-old spiritual herbs into the cauldron one by one. At the same time, he changed his hand seals and injected a stream of pure arcane energy into the spirit-gathering plate. With the help of his divine sense, the flame of the blue spiritual fire suddenly swelled up. Waves of heat spread out in all directions and the blue flame licked the bottom of the cauldron. At the same time, Lu Ping divided his attention and sent a part of his divine sense into the cauldron. He carefully felt the changes in the properties of the 24 spiritual herbs. Just like that, 3 days passed. Although Lu Ping could stop to rest or cultivate and the medicinal properties of the medicinal pellets were stable to recover his tired mind, this cauldron of medicinal pellets was of great significance. It was related to whether Lu Ping could become an alchemist or not. Hence, Lu Ping couldn't find the time to rest. On the afternoon of the 3rd day, it was the last moment of core formation. Lu Ping sat in front of the cauldron and spread out his divine sense, paying close attention to the cauldron's condition. Suddenly, Lu Ping's expression turned serious. The medicinal properties of the 24 spiritual herbs had all been stimulated. They turned into liquid and slowly fused together. A strange fragrance filled the cauldron. The Samling, spirit-seeking mouse, and sea turtle who had been waiting outside the cauldron for a long time were already salivating and restless. Under the influence of the spirit-splitting art, Lu Ping's divine sense slowly increased to about 90 zhang. This was no longer weaker than the divine sense of a late blood condensation cultivator. Lu Ping split his divine sense into 3 parts. One part would continue to work with the fire control technique to slowly reduce the intensity of the azure spirit fire's fire. Another part would go deep into the cauldron to carefully examine the medicinal properties in the fused liquid. At the same time, the third part would be on standby. Once the medicinal properties in the liquid were completely fused, the third part would work with Lu Ping's core condensing spell to condense the liquid into a pellet. This step was the last hurdle. If it was not successful, the condensed spirit liquid would evaporate the moment the alchemy furnace was opened and lose its effect. Only by condensing it into a pill could the loss of medicinal properties be minimized, or even completely stopped. At this moment, Lu Ping's expression changed again. It was time to condense the pill. He quickly formed hand seals with the core condensation art and shot them towards the cauldron. At the same time, his divine sense cooperated with the hand seals to gather the spiritual liquid and condense it into a pill. Sweat gradually appeared on Lu Ping's face. It wasn't because his magic power was insufficient, but because he had overused his divine sense after splitting it into 3 parts. It was too much for Lu Ping to bear. Lu Ping clenched his teeth and cast out the last hand seal. The cauldron suddenly shook, and a stronger fragrance than before accompanied by a burning smell wafted out from the cauldron. Lu Ping was overjoyed. With a wave of his hand, the cauldron opened and 2 purple longan-sized pills flew out. They were the blood condensation pills that Lu Ping couldn't be more familiar with. At the same time, 8 black pills flew out. They emitted a burning smell. They were all useless pills. It was his first time refining a new type of pill and he had a 20% success rate. How could this appear in the hands of Lu Ping? Lu Ping's joy was mixed with a trace of disbelief. It has to be said that ever since Lu Ping began refining pills, every time he tried to refine a new type of pill, his first attempt would always be a complete failure. When he opened the cauldron, he would produce 10 black charcoal. Sometimes, before he even opened the cauldron, he would have already wasted a cauldron of slag. But when Lu Ping thought it was inevitable, he was suddenly asked to concoct a new type of medicinal pellet. Not only that, it was the blood-condensing pellet, the symbol of an alchemist. Not only that, but he also managed to produce 2 medicinal pellets on his first try. How could he not be in disbelief? It took Lu Ping an entire day to calm down from his excitement. After calming down, Lu Ping refined 4 more cauldrons of blood condensation pills, using up all the spirit herbs he had. Other than the 3rd cauldron where he only produced 1 blood condensation pill due to carelessness, he produced 3 blood condensation pills on his 4th and 5th cauldrons. Looking at the 11 blood condensation beads in his hand, Lu Ping fell into a daze. He had finally become a noble alchemist. This meant that Lu Ping would no longer have to struggle to make ends meet in the field of alchemy. Even Lu Ping himself didn't know why his alchemy skills improved so much. Perhaps it was due to luck. However, when Lu Ping refined mid-blood condensation realm pills, Lu Ping quickly maintained a success rate of 40%. Clearly, it wasn't due to luck. Perhaps it was because of Lu Ping's long hours of practice, or Lu Ping's powerful divine sense. In the end, Lu Ping attributed all these reasons to his hard work, investment, and persistence. In the end, it was because the heavens rewarded the diligent. Since he had enough mid-blood condensation realm pills to replenish his energy, Lu Ping, who had just stabilized his 4th-level blood condensation realm cultivation, could use these pills to improve his cultivation by leaps and bounds. Hence, Lu Ping decided to cultivate here for a period of time. He couldn't miss this opportunity. At the same time, Lu Ping also learned more about the situation in the monster territory through Lu Dague's brief description. Among them, Lu Ping had the most detailed information about the area Lu Dague was in. Unfortunately, Lu Ping was ambushed by the overflowing ocean sect during the chase. After he broke out of the encirclement, he panicked and lost his way. Until now, he still didn't know where he was in the monster territory. Chapter 122. By the time Lu Ping stabilized his 4th-level blood condensation realm cultivation, it had been 2 years since he left Huangli Island. After exiting seclusion, Lu Ping planned to return to Huangli Island immediately to investigate the mastermind who leaked his whereabouts. In fact, Lu Ping already had his suspicions about the mastermind. However, the mastermind was from a cultivator family and had a complicated background. If Lu Ping didn't have any concrete evidence, he wouldn't be able to move these people. Instead, it would arouse their suspicions and cause them to attack him again. Anyway, with Lu Ping's demonic beast identity as a cover and the early blood condensation realm demonic beasts gathering in this area, there wouldn't be any factors that could threaten Lu Ping's safety. Therefore, Lu Ping was able to practice his alchemy skills here without any qualms. After all, Lu Ping's alchemy skills took another leap forward after he reached the mid-blood condensation realm. Now, Lu Ping's success rate in refining late blood refining realm pills had reached 50% to 60%. In other words, Lu Ping had basically met the requirements to concoct blood condensation realm pills. Lu Ping originally planned to concoct blood condensation realm pills after he reached 70% success rate in refining late blood refining realm pills. This was because, according to Lu Ping's past experience, when he tried to concoct a new type of pill, the failure rate was extremely high. Unfortunately, Lu Ping had already used up all the blood refining realm spiritual herbs he had on him. In the alchemy profession, all cultivators who practiced alchemy were divided into 5 classes. Starting from the apprentice alchemist, the apprentice alchemist, the apprentice alchemist, the apprentice alchemist, and the apprentice alchemist who succeeded in concocting blood refining realm pills under the guidance of their master would be called an apprentice alchemist. 80% of cultivators who wanted to become alchemists were stuck at the apprentice alchemist level. Even if they succeeded in concocting blood condensation realm pills, they wouldn't be called alchemist. Only apprentices who successfully concocted blood condensation pills would be considered alchemist masters. The difficulty of concocting blood condensation pills was not any lower than concocting late blood condensation realm pills. When an alchemist could successfully concoct pills for core forging realm cultivators, he would be called an alchemist master. According to the legends, those who could concoct the pills Laozu needed were called alchemist grandmasters. Even Dharma Laozu would treat such cultivators with great respect. Their status in the cultivation world was no lower than Laozu's. They were highly sought after by the sections. Lu Ping had quite a number of herbs on him that could be used to concoct blood condensation realm pills. Most of them were harvested from Fei Ling Island. Now, they could finally be put to good use. In the past 2 years, Lu Ping finally managed to maintain a 30% success rate in concocting early blood condensation realm pills. The price he paid was that half of Lu Ping's 4,500-year-old herbs were wasted by Lu Ping. If an alchemist were to find out about this, they would probably kill him. This was the disadvantage of not having a master to guide him. Even though Lu Ping had received the alchemist's inheritance and obtained quite a number of pill recipes, he still needed to ponder and discover everything by himself. It was inevitable that he would pay a higher tuition fee than other apprentices. The only one who benefited from this was Lu Dague. As Lu Ping's cultivation had reached the mid-blood condensation realm, the effects of early blood condensation realm pills were too weak for Lu Ping, who had abundant arcane energy. In addition, Lu Ping still had some mid-blood condensation realm pills on him. Therefore, he gave these early blood condensation realm pills to the loyal Lu Dague. Lu Dague, who had an ordinary aptitude, successfully stabilized his cultivation in the 2nd level of the blood condensation realm in 2 years. The cultivation of the other spiritual pets also improved. Debeo finally broke through to the late blood refining realm and reached the 8th level. The 3 spiritual snakes' improvement made Lu Ping exclaim in admiration. As expected of the green sea snake, it successfully broke through to the late blood refining realm and reached the 7th level in just 2 short years. Initially, Debeo and Samling were the most active. At first, Debeo could use his cultivation to gain the upper hand when playing with Samling. But now, Debeo was no longer a match for any of the spiritual snakes. Even though his cultivation was 1 level higher than Samling, Debeo's forte was obviously not fighting. Instead, he was good at escaping. Even when Samling teamed up to surround him, he still managed to slip away. Lu Ping didn't care much about his spirit pets other than their cultivation bases. They were all monster beasts, so they were born with a wild nature. If he tried too hard, it would affect their growth. Finally, Lu Ping tried to concoct the blood-condensing pill. Lu Ping embedded 4 mid-grade spirit stones into the spirit-gathering plate that contained the blue spiritual fire. At the same time, he formed a set of fire-controlling hand seals. This was a fire-controlling technique recorded in the Flourishing Wave Pill scripture. It could make it easier for a cultivator to control the intensity of the flame and the temperature of the flame. Above the flame was a mid-grade cauldron. It was already preheated. Lu Ping followed the sequence recorded in the pill recipe and placed the 24 500-year-old spiritual herbs into the cauldron. At the same time, he changed the hand seal and injected a stream of pure arcane energy into the spirit-gathering plate. With the help of his divine sense, the flame of the blue spiritual fire suddenly swelled up. Waves of heat spread out in all directions and the blue flame licked the bottom of the cauldron. At the same time, Lu Ping divided his attention and sent a part of his divine sense into the cauldron. He carefully sensed the changes in the properties of the 24 spiritual herbs. Just like that, 3 days passed. Although Lu Ping could stop to rest or cultivate and the medicinal properties of the medicinal pellets were stable to recover his tired mind, this cauldron of medicinal pellets was of great significance. It was related to whether Lu Ping could become an alchemist or not. Hence, Lu Ping couldn't find the time to rest. The afternoon of the 3rd day was the last moment of the core-forming process. Lu Ping was already sitting in front of the cauldron. He spread out his divine sense and observed the condition of the cauldron. Suddenly, Lu Ping's expression turned serious. The medicinal properties of the 24 spiritual herbs had all been stimulated. They turned into liquid and slowly fused together. A strange fragrance filled the cauldron. The Samling, spirit-seeking mouse, and sea turtle who had been waiting outside the cauldron for a long time were already salivating and restless. Under the influence of the spirit-splitting art, Lu Ping's divine sense slowly increased to about 90 zhang. This was no longer weaker than the divine sense of a late blood condensation cultivator. Lu Ping split his divine sense into 3 parts. One part would continue to work with the fire control technique to slowly reduce the intensity of the azure spirit fire's fire. Another part would go deep into the cauldron to carefully examine the medicinal properties in the fused liquid. At the same time, the 3rd part would be on standby. Once the medicinal properties in the liquid were completely fused, the 3rd part would work with Lu Ping's core condensing spell to condense the liquid into a pellet. This step was the last hurdle. If it was not successful, the condensed spiritual liquid would evaporate the moment the cauldron was opened and lose its effect. Only by condensing it into a pill could the loss of medicinal properties be minimized or even non-existent. At this moment, Lu Ping's expression changed again. It was time to condense the pill. He quickly formed hand seals with the core condensation art and shot them towards the cauldron. At the same time, his divine sense cooperated with the hand seals to gather the spiritual liquid and condense it into a pill. Sweat gradually appeared on Lu Ping's face. It wasn't because his magic power was insufficient, but because he had overused his divine sense after splitting it into 3 parts. It was too much for Lu Ping to bear. Lu Ping clenched his teeth and cast out the last hand seal. The cauldron suddenly shook, and a stronger fragrance than before accompanied by a burning smell wafted out of it. Lu Ping was overjoyed. With a wave of his hand, the cauldron opened and 2 purple longan-sized medicinal pellets flew out. They were the blood-condensing pellets that Lu Ping couldn't be more familiar with. At the same time, 8 black medicinal pellets flew out and emitted a charred smell. They were all wasted pellets. It was his first time refining a new pill and he had a 20% success rate. How could something like this appear in Lu Ping's hands? Lu Ping's ecstasy was mixed with a trace of disbelief. It has to be said that ever since Lu Ping began refining pills, every time he tried to refine a new pill, his first attempt would always be a complete failure. When he opened the cauldron, he would produce 10 black charcoal. Sometimes, before he even opened the cauldron, he would have already wasted a cauldron of slag. When Lu Ping accepted this situation as inevitable, he suddenly had Lu Ping refine a new pill. Moreover, it was the blood condensation pill, the symbol of an alchemist. Furthermore, he had produced 2 pills on his first try. How could Lu Ping not be in disbelief? Lu Ping spent an entire day to recover from his excitement. After calming down, Lu Ping refined 4 more cauldrons of blood condensation pills. He had used up all the spirit herbs he had. Other than the 3rd cauldron where he only managed to produce 1 blood condensation pill due to carelessness, he managed to produce 3 blood condensation pills on his 4th and 5th cauldrons. Looking at the 11 blood condensation beads in his hand, Lu Ping fell into a daze again. He had finally become a noble alchemist. This meant that Lu Ping would no longer have to struggle to make ends meet on the path of alchemy. Lu Ping himself didn't know why his alchemy skills improved so much. Perhaps it was due to luck. However, when Lu Ping refined mid-blood condensation realm pills, Lu Ping managed to maintain a success rate of around 40%. Clearly, it wasn't due to luck. Perhaps it was because of Lu Ping's long hours of practice. Or perhaps it was because of Lu Ping's powerful divine sense. In the end, Lu Ping attributed all these reasons to his hard work, investment, and persistence. In the end, it was because the heavens rewarded the diligent. Since he had enough mid-blood condensation realm pills to replenish his energy, Lu Ping, who had just stabilized his 4th-level blood condensation realm cultivation, could use these pills to improve his cultivation by leaps and bounds. Hence, Lu Ping decided to stay here and cultivate for a period of time. He couldn't miss this opportunity. At the same time, Lu Ping also learned about the situation in the demon territory through Lu Dagui's simple descriptions. He had the most detailed understanding of the area around Lu Dagui's territory. Unfortunately, when Lu Ping was being pursued, he was ambushed by the overflowing sea gang. After breaking out of the encirclement, Lu Ping panicked and lost his way. Until now, he still didn't know where he was in the demon territory. Chapter 123. Under Lu Dagui's surveillance, Lu Ping managed to sneak into the mid-blood condensation realm demonic beasts territory for the past 2 years. Using hunger crush pills and other methods, he managed to kill a total of 81 mid-blood condensation realm demonic beasts. Among them, only 20 demonic beasts had condensed blood pearls in their heart cores. These 20 demonic beasts provided a total of 93 condensed blood pearls. Fortunately, most of the demonic beasts in the ocean had water attributes or were inclined towards water attributes. Among the 93 condensed blood pearls, more than 60 of them were water attribute blood spirit pills that were suitable for Lu Ping's cultivation technique. With these condensed blood pearls, Lu Ping's pill refinement skills improved rapidly. His success rate in concocting mid-blood condensation realm pills had reached more than 50%. If Lu Ping's previous success in concocting condensed blood pills was a sign that he had successfully stepped into the realm of pill refinement, then Lu Ping's pill refinement skills were now on par with ordinary pill refinement masters. Blood spirit pellets were among the best among the medicinal pellets of the same grade. In the past 2 years, Lu Ping's cultivation had been progressing at an ideal pace thanks to the support of the mid-blood condensation realm blood spirit pellets. Not long ago, he successfully broke through to the 5th layer blood condensation realm. This time, Lu Ping merged with the wood attribute Yuan bloodline in his body. Lu Ping's foundation bloodline was as tyrannical as ever. It devoured all the arcane energy in the Yuan bloodline, but it didn't have a single trace of the Yuan bloodline's characteristics. The first thing Lu Ping did after breaking through was to find the flying demonic beast that tried to kill him. After entering the mid-blood condensation realm, Lu Ping fought with this demonic beast a few times. Although Lu Ping always had the upper hand, this flying demonic beast had wings and cultivated the wind and fire arts. Lu Ping couldn't do anything to it. This time, Lu Ping used the starving swamp pellet as bait and finally subdued the demonic beast. However, he encountered the two cultivators who happened to be passing by. In order to conceal his strength, Lu Ping had no choice but to cast the Art of Cloud Summoning Rain from the North Sea's 12 paragons. With the cover of the clouds, he managed to capture the demonic beast alive. During his conversation with Cheng and Huang, Lu Ping had a general understanding of the situation in the North Sea in the past 5 years. What surprised Lu Ping was the rise of the overturned sea gang. In Lu Ping's eyes, the gang that tried to kill Lu Ping and his sect's cultivators 4 years ago was nothing more than a group of pirates that made a living by robbing cultivators from the monster's seas. Lu Ping didn't expect that after more than 4 years, not only had the overturned ocean sect not been annihilated by the other sect's encirclement, but it had also grown in power. Their influence had spread to the various monster sea regions that were connected to the North Sea sections. The various sects also had core forging enlightened masters meddling in the affairs of the overturned seas sect. Just when the North Sea cultivators thought that the core forging enlightened masters would make their move, the pirates would disappear without a trace. An even more shocking piece of news spread. The enlightened masters all returned in defeat. The overturned sea gang also had the support of the core forging enlightened masters, who declared that the overturned sea gang would establish a foothold in the North Sea. When the news spread, the North Sea cultivators were in an uproar. They all hoped that the North Sea sect's Dharma adepts, Laozu, would step forward to resolve the matter. However, the various sects Laozu seemed to have a tacit understanding and ignored the matter. After that, the overturned sea gang also stopped their murdering and robbing pirates and began to openly appear before the North Sea cultivators. It was as if they had truly turned over a new leaf. The North Sea cultivators deeply hated the overturned sea gang's previous actions. However, they were also afraid of the core forging enlightened masters behind the overturned sea gang, so they didn't dare to openly retaliate. They could only avoid contact with the overturned sea gang cultivators, isolating them from the North Sea cultivators. The overturned sea gang also knew their place, so they didn't mind being isolated by the North Sea cultivators. They just acted on their own, and there were times when the North Sea cultivators retaliated. However, the North Sea cultivators soon discovered that the overturned sea gang cultivators not only had powerful cultivation, but their ritual implements were also of excellent quality. In a battle between cultivators of the same level, the North Sea cultivators were often the ones who suffered. After a few battles, the overturned sea gang suffered heavy casualties, and the North Sea cultivators suffered heavy casualties. Only then did the two sides ease up, but the overturned sea gang still did not tolerate the North Sea cultivators. Lu Ping's intuition told him that the overturned sea gang was not as simple as it seemed. Otherwise, the overturned sea gang's display of strength was enough to affect the North Sea sect's current order. The sect's Laozu would not ignore them. If that was the case, then there was only one possibility. The overturned sea gang's strength was even greater than what they had revealed so far. It was so great that even the Dharma adepts of the various sects feared them. Lu Ping could not help but suck in a breath of cold air, shocked by his own guess. Recalling the look of hatred on the two cultivators' faces when they talked about the overturned sea gang, Lu Ping could not help but laugh. When the two of them heard that Lu Ping was heavily injured because of the overturned sea gang's pursuit and was trapped here for several years to recuperate, cultivator Huang did not hesitate to give Lu Ping a jade token, inviting him to participate in an operation against the overturned sea gang. Lu Ping originally wanted to return to Huangli Island as soon as possible to find out who had leaked his whereabouts. However, when he heard that the initiator of this operation against the overturned sea gang was the eldest son of the AI family of West Hill Island, Lu Ping suddenly remembered that AI Shutao, a good friend he had made on Fei Ling Island, was a cultivator of the AI family. In addition, Lu Ping really did want to take revenge on the overturned sea gang, so he kept the jade token. Just as Lu Ping was thinking about the overturned sea gang, Lu Dagui arrived at Lu Ping's cultivation room. Lu Ping frowned. He knew that if there was nothing important, his 5 spiritual beasts would not disturb his cultivation. After entering the blood condensation realm, Lu Dagui had completely unlocked his intelligence. Although he could not speak, he could still communicate through his divine sense. Lu Ping retracted his divine sense and fell into deep thought. A late blood condensation demonic beast, huh? Lu Ping shook his head with a bitter smile. It seemed that he had been too ruthless in hunting demonic beasts recently. He had already attracted the attention of a high-level blood condensation demonic beast. However, Lu Ping had always been cautious when hunting demonic beasts. Every time he went out, he would go to a different location. His targets were also random. In addition, he was hiding in an area where early blood condensation demonic beasts gathered. With Lu Dagui as his cover, Lu Ping did not have to worry about demonic beasts finding him in the short term. However, Lu Ping could not appear in this area for the time being. It was best for him to leave this place. Having made up his mind, Lu Ping got busy again. After Lu Ping threw the heavily injured demonic bird to a corner of the temporary cave, Lu Ping ignored it. At first, the 6th-level blood condensation demonic bird was arrogant and unruly. Even though it was on the verge of death, it still looked at Lu Ping with disdain. However, Lu Ping's spiritual beasts surprised the demonic bird. First was Lu Dagui. Although the demonic bird was a flying demonic beast, it knew that Lu Dagui was just an ordinary demonic beast. It could be said that Lu Dagui's aptitude was low among the demonic beasts. The demonic bird secretly mocked Lu Ping for not knowing how to choose a spiritual beast. But then, it saw Lu Ping casually tossing spirit pills to Lu Dagui. As demonic beasts, spirit pills were more precious to them. Thus, demonic beasts had a natural instinct for things that could increase their strength. The demonic bird secretly felt that it was a pity that these precious spirit pills were wasted on an ordinary sea turtle. While the demonic bird cursed Lu Ping for wasting precious spirit pills, it could not help but guess Lu Ping's identity. What happened next shocked it. With the help of 3 blood-condensing pills, Dabeo finally broke through to the blood condensation realm. According to the demonic bird's knowledge, demonic beasts with low bloodlines like the spirit-seeking mouse were mostly at the early stage of the blood-refining realm. Occasionally, a few of them would break through to the mid-stage of the blood-refining realm. However, this spirit-seeking mouse actually broke through to the blood condensation realm. How could the demonic bird not be surprised? After breaking through, Dabeo jumped up and down excitedly. In the end, it annoyed Lu Ping so much that he reprimanded it and made it behave. Even so, Lu Dabeo still managed to get a bottle of 1,000 ginseng pills from Lu Ping. Lu Dabeo was probably the talkative type among demonic beasts. Now that it had entered the blood condensation realm, it could communicate with other demonic beasts using its divine sense. In just a few days, this fellow actually managed to form a relationship with the demonic bird. The demonic bird also wanted to understand Lu Ping's situation. This made it even more surprised. The human cultivator that captured it was actually an alchemist. No wonder he could casually give precious spirit pills to its spirit beast. Dabeo had followed Lu Ping for the longest time and had the deepest relationship with Lu Ping. It also understood Lu Ping's thoughts the most. Its 2 beady eyes darted around quickly. It then revealed to the demonic bird that it had only followed Lu Ping for 8 years, but it had already advanced from an ordinary first-layer blood-refining realm demonic beast to the first-layer blood condensation realm. This made the demonic bird even more dumbfounded. The demonic bird was well aware of the status of the spirit-seeking mouse among the demonic beasts. Not only did this demonic beast break through to the blood condensation realm, it also used only 8 years to do so. The demonic bird thought that its aptitude was considered pretty good among the demonic beasts. Back then, it had taken it more than 10 years to break through to the blood condensation realm. How could it not go crazy? However, what happened next made it even angrier. Debeo secretly told it that the 3 green sea snakes that looked down on it had only been 5 years since they were born, but they had already reached the second layer blood condensation realm. The giant turtle had only followed Lu Ping for 6 years, but it had already advanced from the 9th layer blood refining realm to the peak of the 3rd layer blood condensation realm. It was about to break through to the mid-blood condensation realm. During the conversation with Debeo, the monster bird received information that completely defied its understanding of the world. This finally set off a wave in its heart, causing it to fall into a daze for the next few days. Even when Debeo gave it a high-grade healing pellet from Lu Ping, the monster bird didn't hesitate and simply swallowed it down without hesitation. Lu Ping, who was secretly manipulating everything, saw that the demonic bird had gradually lost its original arrogance. Its sharp eyes were also gradually losing focus, and its eyes were filled with doubt and contradiction. He knew that now was the time to add fuel to the fire. In the following month, Lu Ping continuously refined 10 cauldrons of blood spirit pills in the cave abode. All the condensed blood pearls that he had obtained recently, regardless of whether they were of the water attribute or not, were refined. Lu Ping's alchemy skills finally maintained a success rate of more than 60% for mid-stage blood condensation realm pills. Every time the cauldron was opened, Lu Ping's 5 spirit beasts would be filled with excitement. The monster bird's injuries were gradually recovering under the effects of the top-grade healing medicinal pellets. It looked at De Bao, De Gui, Lu Bai, Lu Hai, and Lu Ling walking in front of it. Each of them had a medicinal pellet flowing with spiritual energy in their mouths, and its eyes were finally filled with desire. When Lu Ping appeared in front of it again, the demonic bird finally lowered its proud head to Lu Ping. Chapter 124. In the skies above the azure sea, a crisp cry rang out. A demon bird with a wingspan of 30 feet quickly streaked across the sky. Faintly, one could see the faint silhouette of a man on the back of the demon bird. At this moment, on an unknown island, the 2 cultivators Lu Ping first saw, Cultivator Cheng and Cultivator Huang, were standing on a huge rock as if they were waiting for someone. Cultivator Cheng looked into the distance and said to Cultivator Huang impatiently, "Brother Huang, it's almost time. Is Lu Qi not coming?" Cultivator Huang smiled and said, "Brother Cheng, don't be impatient." As soon as Cultivator Huang finished speaking, a loud and clear chirp of a bird came from the horizon. Cultivator Huang and Cultivator Huang both had outstanding eyesight. They had long recognized the person sitting on the monster bird's back. It was Lu Ping, whom they had been waiting for. In the blink of an eye, the giant bird arrived above the island. It circled around the island twice, and Lu Ping, who was on its back, tossed a medicinal pellet to the giant bird. Then, the giant bird let out a happy chirp. Lu Ping waved his hand and the demonic bird flew into his spirit beast pouch. Then, Lu Ping slowly landed on the island. A long laugh was heard. "Ha, Brother Lu is right on time. You're a man of your word." The one who spoke was Cultivator Huang. Lu Ping said a few words of humility. Cultivator Cheng said enviously, "Brother Lu Qi, your flying mount is the demonic bird you captured the other day, right? Brother Lu is really capable. That demonic bird should be a 6th layer blood condensation gale falcon. Even a late blood condensation cultivator would find it difficult to tame it. I didn't expect Brother Lu to be able to subdue it with just a 5th layer blood condensation realm cultivation. I'm really impressed." Lu Ping didn't want to explain too much. He just said, "I was just lucky." The 2 naturally didn't believe Lu Ping's perfunctory words, but they didn't ask further. After all, every cultivator had their own secrets. Asking about another cultivator's secrets was a taboo. Cultivator Huang laughed and said, "Brother Lu, please follow me. I'll introduce you to the famous young master Ai Butao of the North Sea's West Tomb Island." Lu Ping followed the two to a coral archipelago. Cultivator Huang took out a jade token and chanted. At the same time, his hands formed a set of hand seals. As his magic power fluctuated, an ordinary-looking island in front of him rippled like a painting reflected in the water. Then, the island slowly split open, revealing a path shrouded in mist. At this time, Cultivator Cheng also took out a similar jade token. Lu Ping saw that these two jade tokens were exactly the same as the one Cultivator Huang gave him before. It seemed that this jade token was a kind of travel token. Thus, he also took the jade token from his storage ring and held it in his hand. When Cultivator Cheng saw Lu Ping take out the jade token, he smiled and led Lu Ping to follow Cultivator Huang into the split island. After walking through this misty path, someone in front of them asked, "Is it Brother Huang and Brother Cheng who have returned?" Cultivator Huang laughed and said, "So it's Brother Peng. It's the two of us who brought Brother Lu Qi that we invited before." The three of them took a few more steps forward. The mist dissipated and Lu Ping discovered that this was still a small island. However, the scenery and appearance were very different from the island used to conceal themselves. A tall cultivator stood in front of them. When he saw the three of them enter, he smiled at Lu Ping and said, "Please come with me. Everyone is already here. Only the three of you are missing." Cultivator Huang's expression turned solemn and said, "So soon? Didn't you say that everyone would meet at night?" Cultivator Peng said solemnly, "The situation has changed. Those bastards from the Overflowing Oceans gang have suddenly sped up their exploration as if they've sensed something. Young Master Ai has urgently gathered us together. I'm afraid that we're going to move ahead of schedule." Cultivator Cheng and Cultivator Huang's expressions changed and no longer spoke. They followed Cultivator Peng to a cave in the center of the island. Lu Ping followed closely behind and quietly listened to the three of them chatting. The cave was quite spacious. As soon as the three of them entered the cave, they heard a hearty laugh. Then, a cultivator with an imposing appearance strode out to welcome them. He said, "Brother Huang, Brother Cheng, the two of you are finally here." Cultivator Cheng and Cultivator Huang cupped their fists together and said, "Young Master Ai, we're lucky that we didn't disappoint you." Ai Butao said happily, "Good." Then, he turned to Lu Ping and said with a smile, "This must be the Brother Lu that the two of you have been praising?" Lu Ping smiled and cupped his fists. "It's Brother Cheng and Brother Huang who are overpraising me. I am indeed Lu Qi." Ai Butao waved his hand and said, "Brother Lu is too modest. I've always admired Brother Huang's foresight. Since he said that Brother Lu is not bad, then Brother Lu must have something extraordinary about you." Lu Ping smiled but did not say anything. Ai Butao did not dwell on this topic. Instead, he turned to Cultivator Peng and said, "Elder Peng, bring the three of them into the cave to rest. When Brother Wei returns, we'll discuss the Overflowing Oceans gang." Cultivator Peng nodded and brought the three of them into the cave. Only then did Lu Ping realize that there were already 30 to 40 cultivators in the cave. These cultivators were either meditating or chatting quietly. When they saw Lu Ping and the other two enter, those who were familiar with them greeted them. Those who were unfamiliar with them smiled in greeting. It was clear that everyone had a harmonious relationship. Through Cheng and Huang, Lu Ping learned that some of these cultivators were cultivators from Ai Butao's clan. They were a loose cultivator group attached to the Ai family of West Tomb Island. There were also some who were like Lu Ping, loose cultivators who joined the sea halfway through their journey. Lu Ping saw that these people were not familiar with each other, yet they were able to mingle together without any misgivings. He thought of Ai Butao who had just come out to welcome them. Ai Butao's words and actions gave off a feeling of being bathed in a spring breeze. He could not help but secretly praise this young Master Ai of West Tomb Island for his superb skills and wide circle of friends. At the same time, Lu Ping also thought of Ai Shutao, whom he met on Fei Ling Island. Both of them were cultivators from the AI family of West Tomb Island, but he did not know what their relationship was. At this time, AI Butao brought a stern-looking cultivator into the cave. When the dozens of cultivators in the cave saw AI Butao, they all turned to look at him. Even the cultivators who were meditating earlier were shocked. AI Butao said in a deep voice, "Everyone, I just received news that our operation against the overturned sea gang will be brought forward. I hope Brother Wei can explain the details to everyone." The stern-looking cultivator Wei looked at everyone and said directly, "I have some experience in concealment, so I was sent by Brother AI to follow the overturned sea gang. This time, the overturned sea gang is sending experts from the Wrath Sea gang. There are a total of 50 cultivators led by 5 late blood condensation cultivators. The strongest among the 5 is at the 9th layer of the blood condensation realm, while the rest are at the mid-blood condensation realm and above." When everyone heard Cultivator Wei's report, they started discussing among themselves. Lu Ping listened carefully. Most of them were trying to gauge the strength of both sides, to see if they had the confidence to win. AI Butao saw that the situation was getting chaotic, so he raised his hands and gestured for everyone to be quiet. When everyone saw AI Butao's signal, they quieted down. This surprised Lu Ping. AI Butao's prestige among these cultivators was very high. AI Butao said, "Everyone, Brother Wei has already figured out the enemy's strength." At the same time, from the traces left behind by the overturned sea gang, the overturned sea gang should be searching for the treasure of a group of pirates in the Demon Sea that was killed by the overturned sea gang. At this time, a cultivator stood up and said, "Young Master AI, let's not talk about the overturned sea gang's strength among cultivators of the same realm. Just the Wrath Sea gang alone has sent 50 cultivators, while we only have 42 people. If we start a war, I'm afraid our chances of winning are slim." AI Butao was obviously prepared for this. He smiled confidently and said, "Brother Zhang is right. However, the 42 people on our side are all at the mid-blood condensation realm and above. There are even 7 in the late blood condensation realm. Although there are no 9th layer blood condensation realm cultivators, I've asked Brother Qing Feng and Brother Huang Jun to bring us an amazing magic tool." As he finished speaking, he gestured to Cheng and Huang. Huang Jun quickly stood up and said, "That's right. The 2 of us have come under young Master AI's orders to retrieve a large-scale, high-grade instrument that can conceal your tracks. It's called the Green Muslin Tent. This instrument can allow us to sneak within a few hundred feet of the overturned sea clan without being detected. This ensures that our ambush is sudden and will be able to catch the overturned sea clan off guard." As Cultivator Huang introduced the magic tool, he handed a neatly folded silk muslin net to AI Butao. Once AI Butao's 8th layer blood condensation realm arcane energy was activated, the seemingly thin muslin net instantly expanded to a size of 20 to 30 feet. It was large enough to cover everyone in the cave. Lu Ping extended his divine sense. His divine sense penetrated the muslin net, but it was as if AI Butao did not exist. Lu Ping's divine sense could not sense him at all. The rest of the group also tried to detect AI Butao's presence like Lu Ping did. Indeed, they could not detect AI Butao within the muslin net. They clicked their tongues in wonder. With this magic tool, their chances of defeating the overturned sea gang would increase significantly. When AI Butao saw the eager expressions on everyone's faces, he knew that this large magic tool had strengthened everyone's resolve to attack the overturned sea gang. Thus, he said, "The reason why everyone is gathered here with me, AI Butao, is because you all have a deep grudge against the overturned sea gang. Many of the cultivators from my West Tomb Island who went out to sea were killed by the overturned sea gang. There was even a group of cultivators directly related to my AI family who died to the overturned sea gang's sneak attack. As the eldest son of the AI family, I will naturally not let this matter rest." Most of the cultivators in the cave had a grudge against the overturned sea gang. When they heard AI Butao's impassioned speech, they all showed expressions of solidarity. When AI Butao saw that everyone's fighting spirit was high, he continued, this time, we have the advantage of sneak attacks. However, the overturned sea gang has the advantage in numbers. I believe everyone here has heard of the rumors that the overturned sea gang's cultivators are extremely powerful among cultivators of the same realm. Many of you here have fought with the overturned sea gang before. Thus, we do not seek to completely annihilate the overturned sea gang's cultivators. Instead, we seek to severely injure the enemy. At the same time, we disrupt the overturned sea gang's plan to search for the treasure vault. Of course, in the end, the ownership of the treasures in the treasury will depend on your own abilities. AI Butao's final words about the distribution of the treasures had ignited the fighting spirit of the cultivators in the cave. Everyone rubbed their palms together, waiting for the moment to set off. Chapter 125. Lu Ping followed AI Butao and the rest as they flew across the sea. Around them was a net that was more than 200 feet long. If a cultivator were to look at the outside of the net, he or she would find nothing in front of them. At this moment, AI Butao, who was leading the way with the other late blood condensation cultivators, suddenly stopped. Everyone stopped as well. Suddenly, a wave appeared on the surface of the sea beneath their feet. A figure leaped out of the water. AI Butao seemed to be prepared for this. He quickly opened a small gap in the net, and the figure leaped into the net. Only then did everyone realize that the person who had entered was Cultivator Wei, the one who had explained the situation of the overturned sea gang to them earlier. Lu Ping was secretly surprised by this person's concealment technique. Even with the net as a cover, Lu Ping's long cultivated habit of being cautious made him spread out his divine sense from time to time. However, even though Lu Ping's divine sense was no weaker than a 9th-layer blood condensation cultivator, he still couldn't detect Cultivator Wei's presence in the water beneath their feet. Although the art of traveling through clouds and summoning rain, and the art of deceiving the heavens and sea crossing technique, from the North Sea 12 Paragons, also had the effect of concealing one's tracks, the most important aspect of these two techniques was killing. The concealment effect was only a supplementary effect and wasn't that obvious. Lu Ping touched his chin. The group advanced for a few more li. 5 small islands appeared in the distance. These 5 islands protruded out of the sea in a straight line. 4 of the islands were scattered around them, and the tallest one in the middle seemed to be protected by the other 4 islands. Cultivator Wei suddenly said, "It's on the 5 islands in front of us. The treasure should be on the island in the middle. The 4 surrounding islands have been protected by the pirates according to the 4 prisons formation. Now, the overturned sea gang's cultivators have already broken the formations on the west and south." Just as Cultivator Wei said this, he heard a loud muffled sound coming from the small island in the east. A cloud of smoke rose, and several dozen streaks of light flew towards the small island in the north. Cultivator Wei's expression changed, and he said, "The formation on the east has been broken, only the one on the north is left." AI Butao's expression was solemn as he nodded his head. He commanded the crowd to steer the green gauze tent past the overflowing sea's sex warning spell formation and float towards the small island in the north. Just as Lu Ping and the others were about 1,000 feet away from the small island in the north, a sharp whistling sound suddenly came from the surface of the sea. The cultivators from the overturned seas sect on the island shouted, "Enemy attack! Be on guard!" More than 10 cultivators from the overflowing seas clan shone brightly beneath their feet as they flew up into the sky with all sorts of artifacts. AI Butao and the rest looked at each other in dismay. They had clearly passed through the overturned seas sect's warning array formation. How did they still get discovered? Just when everyone was looking at AI Butao, waiting for him to make a decision, Lu Ping seemed to have sensed something and looked towards the northern sky. At this time, AI Butao also noticed that the overturned seas sect cultivators were all facing the northern sky. His heart thumped, and he said, "Don't panic, they haven't discovered us yet." Some of the more alert cultivators also noticed something was amiss from the overturned seas sect cultivators' reactions. AI Butao and a few other late blood condensation cultivators steered the green gauze tent and stopped advancing. At this moment, 80 or 90 streaks of light suddenly appeared in the northern sky. In the blink of an eye, they had already arrived above the small island in the north. At this moment, the cultivators flew over with a loud rumble. A person walked out from the overturned seas sect. It was a 9th-layer blood condensation vice hall master. He shouted at the approaching cultivators, "Who are you? Don't you know that the overturned seas sect is operating here?" A long laugh could be heard. A late blood condensation cultivator from Xianling sect stepped out from the crowd and said, "Pirates of the overturned seas sect, ever since the sea restriction was lifted, you have plundered and killed many of our North Sea cultivators. Today, I, Xianling, Lang, and the other North Sea sects have joined forces with the North Sea cultivators to annihilate you. Today will be the day you all die." The leader of the Overturned Sea Association snickered coldly, "Your Excellency, you have quite an arrogant tone. Is this the spirit of the North Sea's #1 sect? No wonder you've been suppressed by a sect called Zhenling sect in recent years." His tone was full of mockery. The Xianling sect cultivators couldn't accept being compared to Zhenling, let alone being surpassed by Zhenling. When the Xianling sect cultivator heard the Overturned Seas sect's leader's mockery, he was enraged. He cursed, "Traitors of the Overturned Seas sect, you're still so stubborn even in the face of death. Fellow North Sea cultivators, let's destroy them together. The treasures on the central island will be ours." The North Sea cultivators who came with the leader of the Overturned Seas sect clamored. 80 to 90 of them charged forward, and all sorts of mystic instruments and spells flew across the sky, creating a trail of light in the sky as they rained down on the Overturned Seas sect cultivators. The sounds of explosions and weapons clashing resounded across the surface of the sea. Ai Buotao and the other cultivators were bewildered by this sudden turn of events. Everyone looked at Ai Buotao with questioning gazes. Ai Buotao looked at the chaotic situation in the sky and pondered for a moment. Then, he said, "Let's wait and see." With Ai Buotao's instructions, everyone quieted down. They watched the two parties fighting on the surface of the sea and discussed the battle through telepathy. Although the North Sea cultivators had the advantage in numbers, Xianling sect was clearly not organized properly. 70 to 80 of them fought on their own, attacking and retreating without a care in the world. Their attacks were uneven, and some even turned around to attack the formation on the central island, hoping to be the first to reach the treasures. Lu Ping and the others shook their heads. This was clearly a motley crew. On the other hand, although the Overturned Seas sect cultivators were at a disadvantage in terms of numbers, when the North Sea cultivators attacked, they gathered together and formed a simple battle formation. They advanced and retreated appropriately, supporting each other. Apart from a few of them who had died to the North Sea cultivators in the beginning, they quickly defended against the attacks of the North Sea cultivators. Slowly, they turned the tables and began to inflict casualties on the North Sea cultivators. Lu Ping frowned as he watched the battle on the surface of the sea. Lu Ping had expected the North Sea cultivators to fight on their own. What shocked Lu Ping was that the dozens of Overturned Seas sect cultivators advanced and retreated in a well-coordinated manner, as if they were a well-trained army. This was definitely not the standard of a pirate gang. Lu Ping looked around and saw Ai Buotao's gloomy expression. Clearly, he had also noticed this phenomenon. At that moment, the situation on the battlefield changed again. The Overturned Seas sect cultivators, who had just stabilized their footing, suddenly launched an attack against the North Sea cultivators. Caught off guard, the North Sea cultivators suffered a great deal of casualties. However, the cultivators who attacked from the Overturned Seas sect were also in dire straits. At the same time, the defensive line that the Overturned Seas sect had just stabilized loosened significantly, increasing the pressure on the Overturned Seas sect cultivators. Not only were the North Sea cultivators attacking the Overturned Seas sect overjoyed, they increased the intensity of their attacks. Even the cultivators who had initially wanted to fish in troubled waters and loot the treasures gave up on attacking the formation. Instead, they joined in the attack on the Overturned Seas sect cultivators. Everyone was willing to play the trick of beating a drowning dog. The frown on Lu Ping's face grew deeper as he observed this blunder from the Overturned Seas sect. Now was not the time to be wondering why the Overturned Seas sect cultivators could cooperate so well. Rather, why did this blunder, that should not have appear on the Overturned Seas sect cultivators? Lu Ping watched as the besieged Overturned Seas sect cultivators tightened their defensive line. Even so, the North Sea cultivators were still able to break through their defensive line, inflicting damage upon them. At the same time, the North Sea cultivators gradually gathered together. Lu Ping's eyes lit up and he seemed to have understood something. The Overturned Seas sect is deliberately using the failure of their counterattack to lure the North Sea cultivators into attacking them. They are like bait, luring the scattered North Sea cultivators into their surroundings. But why are they doing this? As soon as he understood this, Lu Ping immediately spread out his divine sense in all directions. He carefully examined his surroundings. By then, Ai Butao had already moved the green muslin tent about 60 to 70 zhang away from the small island. Lu Ping's divine sense could already detect the surroundings of the battlefield. Just as the Overturned Seas sect pulled back their defensive line once more and the North Sea cultivators completely surrounded them, Lu Ping's divine sense finally detected a faint fluctuation of spiritual energy on one side of the battlefield. The Overturned Seas sect has an ambush. Lu Ping shouted. Fortunately, the green muslin tent could isolate sound transmission. However, Lu Ping's shout still attracted the attention of the cultivators within the tent. Ai Butao asked Lu Ping in a low voice, "Brother Lu, did you discover something?" Naturally, Lu Ping would not divulge the secret of his divine sense. He only nodded and said, "The Overturned Seas sect is advancing and retreating with great coordination during the battle. They are clearly not simple. Why would they make the mistake of launching a counterattack?" A cultivator said disdainfully, "What's wrong with that? Perhaps the Overturned Seas sect is used to being arrogant. They don't respect the North Sea cultivators." Lu Ping saw many cultivators secretly nod their heads. They clearly did not agree with Lu Ping's statement. Lu Ping did not mind. He continued, "Everyone, don't you think that the Overturned Seas sect is like a piece of bait that has completely lured the North Sea cultivators together?" The crowd watched as the battle grew tighter and tighter. They did not speak. Lu Ping continued, "Previously, the Overturned Seas sect's cultivators attacked recklessly. They exposed a flaw in their defense, allowing the North Sea cultivators to attack. However, isn't this also a method for the Overturned Seas sect to entangle the North Sea cultivators?" The first cultivator laughed coldly. "Based on what you're saying, the Overturned Seas sect is doing this to encircle and annihilate the North Sea cultivators?" Lu Ping nodded with a serious expression. "That's right." The cultivator was about to mock Lu Ping for being delusional when Ai Butao suddenly said, "I'm afraid Brother Lu is right. Everyone, although the Overturned Seas sect appears to be flustered under the encirclement of the North Sea cultivators, the direction of their retreat has never been convenient. Even when they were attacked, they still retreated towards the south. There must be something fishy going on here." The crowd looked towards the battle and realized that the situation was just as Ai Butao had said. Even Lu Ping did not notice this. As if to confirm Lu Ping's speculation, there was a loud noise on the other side of the island. At the same time, a loud voice shouted, "Cultivators of the North Sea, today is the day you all die." Chapter 126. Just as Ai Butao finished speaking, a loud voice rang out, "North Sea cultivators, today is the day you all die." On the southern side of the small island, a massive upside-down bowl suddenly rose up from the surface of the ocean. Beneath the massive bowl, around 50 cultivators from the Overturned Seas faction appeared. As the massive bowl rose up, it gradually shrank to the size of an ordinary bowl. Then, it fell into the hands of a short cultivator wearing a red cloak. Clearly, this bowl-shaped magic artifact was also a treasure for concealing one's whereabouts. This cultivator in red was the one who had shouted earlier. The leading Xianling cultivator's pupils shrank when he saw the cultivator in red. Nohai Hongi, you're the hall master of Nohai Hall. How did you know our plan? The cultivator in red laughed. As expected of a large North Sea sect, you're quite well informed. You've been spying on us so many times. Did you think I wouldn't know? I just ignored you on purpose to bait you into taking the bait. The leading Xianling cultivator was furious. How could he not know that they had fallen into the overturned ocean sect's trap? Now, all they could do was fight to the death. As he spoke, the overturned ocean sect cultivators behind him leaped out and surrounded the North Sea cultivators, attacking the overturned ocean sect cultivators. Together with the previous group of cultivators, they attacked the North Sea cultivators. The North Sea cultivators were instantly thrown into chaos. The already loose crowd scattered like birds and beasts, fleeing in all directions. However, the overturned ocean sect cultivators who had been surrounded earlier took the initiative to attack. Instead, they entangled the fleeing North Sea cultivators and joined forces with the overturned ocean sect's reinforcements to counterattack. The North Sea cultivators, who had the upper hand, suffered heavy casualties. A third of their original group of 80 to 90 people was lost. The sudden reversal of the situation on the battlefield not only caught the North Sea cultivators off guard, but even Ai Buatao and the others in the green gauze tent looked at each other in dismay. They were secretly glad that their side did not make the first move. Otherwise, under the ambush of the overturned sea sect, they, who only had 40 people, would definitely suffer heavy casualties. But what should they do next? Ai Buatao pondered for a moment and came up with an idea. He said, we still have to take action. Although Xianling sect and the other cultivators are interfering, they have put us in a more advantageous position. Moreover, we are all North Sea cultivators. It would be immoral for us to stand by and do nothing. Everyone nodded and agreed with Ai Buatao's opinion. When Ai Buatao saw everyone nodding their heads, his heroic spirit rose. He continued, in that case, we will do our best to approach the battlefield. When I give the signal, we will withdraw the green muslin tent. When the time comes, we will attack together and catch the overturned ocean sect off guard. The 7 late blood condensation realm cultivators controlled the green canopy and slowly moved towards the battlefield. Seeing that the two sides were defenseless, they couldn't help but feel excited and took out their magic tools. Lu Ping also took out the goose feather blades that he had not used for a long time from his storage ring. In such a chaotic battle, firstly, he was unfamiliar with the other cultivators and couldn't coordinate with them. Secondly, he had to conserve his strength. There were already more than 20 late blood condensation realm cultivators on the battlefield. If he went all out, he would inevitably attract the attention of the late blood condensation realm cultivators. Lu Ping still remembered the lesson of being hunted down. The green muslin tent that surrounded the North Sea cultivators suddenly withdrew. Ai Buatao shouted, and the 40 mid and late blood condensation realm cultivators charged towards the overturned ocean sect from the side. Not only did the North Sea cultivators not expect this, but the overturned ocean sect was also caught off guard. The 40 North Sea cultivators charged in the same direction, and in an instant, more than 10 overturned ocean sect cultivators died to the sneak attack. Ai Buatao was afraid that the North Sea cultivators would misunderstand, so he shouted, North Sea's West Tomb Islands Ai family cultivators are here. Fellow Taoists from Xianling sect, do not panic. We will work together to deal with the overturned ocean sect. When Ai Buatao's group suddenly appeared, how could Xianling sect and the other North Sea cultivators not know that Ai Buatao's group had the same idea as them? However, they didn't have the time to care about such things. The appearance of the West Tomb Islands Ai family cultivators undoubtedly gave the North Sea cultivators hope of turning the tide. Hence, the Xianling sect's leader also replied loudly, so its fellow Taoists from West Tomb Island. Thank you for your help. The leaders of both sides spoke to each other, tacitly agreeing to work together to deal with the overturned ocean sect. Lu Ping followed closely behind the rest, wielding his goose feather blades and slashing at a 5th layer blood condensation realm cultivator from the overturned ocean sect. This cultivator was originally besieging a North Sea cultivator, but he didn't panic despite being ambushed. He stomped his foot on the ground, and thorny vines immediately sprouted from the ground, weaving into a wall of vines in front of him. At the same time, he held a mid-grade magic tool, a soft whip, in his hand. With a casual flick, a sharp gust of wind flew towards Lu Ping's face. Lu Ping was greatly impressed by this overturned ocean sex cultivator's quick response. This cultivator's movements were calm, and he didn't panic at all despite Lu Ping's sneak attack. Clearly, this was a cultivator who had been through life and death situations. However, this cultivator had misjudged the situation. He didn't give up on attacking the North Sea cultivator just because of Lu Ping's sneak attack. Ever since he entered the North Sea region, he rarely lost to North Sea cultivators of the same level. In fact, he could even take on two opponents at once. In his opinion, his countermeasures were enough to temporarily stall this North Sea cultivator who was at the same cultivation level as him. As long as he killed the North Sea cultivator who was besieging him, he would be able to kill this guy who had sneak attacked him without a burial place. Just as the overturned ocean sex cultivator was trying to show off his extraordinariness, the sound of metal clashing rang out. He instantly felt his flowing gold whip being deflected. At the same time, the hidden energy hidden within the whip was also neutralized by a vigorous magic power. The overturned ocean sex cultivator cursed inwardly. Then, he heard a ripping sound. The wall of vines in front of him had already been torn apart by Lu Ping's second goose feather blade. At this time, it was too late for the overturned ocean sex cultivator to recall his other magic weapon from the North Sea cultivator. The other goose feather blade that had separated the flexible whip had already broken through the cultivator's defensive magic art and pierced through the cultivator's hardcore space. Due to AI Butao's and the others' attacks, the battlefield was once again thrown into chaos. Lu Ping reached out and grabbed the fallen overturned ocean sex cultivator's storage pouch. At the same time, this cultivator's death attracted the attention of the other overturned ocean sex cultivators. Lu Ping's sneak attack didn't stop the North Sea cultivator from being besieged. Amidst the screams of pain, the overturned ocean sex cultivator turned his magic weapon towards Lu Ping, who had just killed his partner. This was a 6th-layer blood condensation realm cultivator. It was obvious that he wanted to kill Lu Ping no matter what. Lu Ping sensed the boundless transcendence energy contained in the incoming magic weapon. He hurriedly used his goose feather blades to block the incoming magic weapon. With a loud bang, Lu Ping's blades were sent flying out of Lu Ping's control. Lu Ping was shocked. Only now did he realize that this cultivator's cultivation was far higher than an ordinary 6th-layer blood condensation realm cultivator's. Moreover, the magic weapon he was using was a high-grade flying sword. What Lu Ping didn't know was that the overturned ocean sex cultivator was even more shocked. He didn't expect that he would only be able to send his opponent's magic weapon flying out of his control when he had a higher cultivation level and was using a high-grade magic weapon. In his opinion, his attack should have injured his opponent. At the very least, it should have shattered his opponent's magic weapon. Lu Ping's transcendence energy surged, and he hurriedly recalled his blades. He regained control of them. At this moment, his opponent's second attack had already drawn 12 sword flowers. They were like flowers blooming in the wind, falling towards Lu Ping's body. His opponent had clearly grasped force. Lu Ping cast the stormy waves crashing shore sword skill. The waves surged like a flood that broke through a dam, washing away the 12 sword flowers. At this moment, seaweed suddenly grew out of the sea behind Lu Ping and wrapped itself around Lu Ping's body. Water and wood complemented each other, cultivating both magic and weapon techniques. Lu Ping sneered and grabbed at the seaweed from his left and right. Suddenly, a huge wave rose from the surface of the sea and transformed into a huge transparent hand that grabbed at the seaweed sticking out of the sea, tearing it into pieces. North Sea's 12 Absolutes Water Manipulation Art. The overturned ocean sex cultivator's expression changed. He knew that he had encountered a formidable opponent. He threw out 9 seeds brimming with vitality. Lu Ping scanned them with his divine sense and knew that this was a set of magic weapons. Every seed was equivalent to a low-grade magic weapon. The 9 seeds sprouted around the cultivator, growing a jade-green vine that coiled around the cultivator's head in the blink of an eye, forming a vine net that tightly protected the cultivator. Lu Ping scanned it with his divine sense and couldn't help but click his tongue in wonder. The vine net formed by 9 low-grade vines was actually a high-grade magic weapon. With the protection of the vine net, the overturned ocean sect's cultivator no longer had to worry about anything. A high-grade flying sword flew towards Lu Ping, creating flower petals around Lu Ping. Instantly, the petals fell and surrounded Lu Ping. Each beautiful petal contained a sharp sword chi. Lu Ping didn't expect to encounter such a troublesome opponent so soon. He wanted to summon the soaring swords, but when he saw the chaos around him and the occasional late blood condensation realm cultivators fighting, he knew that if he took out the high-grade flying swords, it would attract unwanted attention. Since that was the case, Lu Ping decided to have a sword duel with the cultivator. The twin sabers danced in the air, alternating between the stormy waves crashing shore strike and rock-piercing strike. Although Lu Ping's mystic instruments were slightly inferior to the cultivator's, his abundant arcane energy allowed him to stand his ground against the cultivator. At that moment, the overturned ocean sect's encirclement finally collapsed under the assault of Ai Buatao and the others. Both sides were entangled in a chaotic battle. At that moment, a rumbling sound rang out, and the entire northern island shook. Just as everyone was feeling puzzled, they saw the final barrier protecting the central island finally shatter. Lu Ping cursed under his breath. At this critical moment, there were still North Sea cultivators who didn't forget about the pirates' treasures and attacked the 4 prisons formation the moment they escaped. Lu Ping regretted rescuing these people. Chapter 127. Once the 4 prisons formation was broken, the North Sea cultivators were thrown into chaos. Many of them broke away from the overflowing ocean sect and flew towards the central island. The overflowing ocean sect cultivators were already at a disadvantage under the assault of Ai Buatao and the others. Now that some of the North Sea cultivators had left the battlefield, the overflowing ocean sect cultivators could attack the other North Sea cultivators. The North Sea cultivators' originally favorable situation was about to be reversed. Ai Buatao and the Xian Ling sect's leaders' angry roars could not stop these greedy cultivators. Seeing that the situation was worsening, Lu Ping finally gave up on practicing his swordsmanship. He made a series of hand seals, and the seawater beneath Lu Ping's feet surged, turning into a 3-foot-wide platform. Lu Ping walked around the overflowing ocean sect cultivators as if he was taking a stroll in his own backyard. Every few steps, he would leave behind an identical Lu Ping. Each Lu Ping was making the same hand seals, as if they were controlling the goose feather blades together. When Lu Ping walked around the cultivator, a total of 18 identical Lu Ping surrounded the cultivator. The cultivator spread out his divine sense, trying to figure out which of the 18 was the real Lu Ping. However, to his disappointment, each of the 18 seemed to be real, but at the same time, none seemed to be the real one. The cultivator could not help but panic, not knowing what Lu Ping would do next. North Sea 12 Absolute's Art of Sea Deception. Just as the cultivator was focusing all his attention on the 18, Lu Ping, a wave of arcane energy suddenly came from the bottom of his feet. The cultivator's heart jumped. Oh no, I've been tricked. These 18 are all fake. The cultivator leaped up in a hurry, and the vine net above his head immediately closed, wrapping him up from head to toe. At the same time, he waved his hand, and 3 talismans exploded into 3 clumps of seaweed, instantly covering the seawater beneath his feet in a thick layer. Just when the cultivator was shielding himself tightly, and at the same time, using a talisman to cover the fluctuation of magical power at the bottom of the sea, he didn't notice that the 18 Lu Ping in the surroundings all revealed a mocking smile at the same time. The 18 Lu Ping clones changed their hand seals and another mid-grade flying sword flew out from Lu Ping's hand, transforming into 18 flying swords. The flying swords streaked through the air and 18 waves surged out from the surface of the ocean, transforming into a strange water WIRM. The flying sword emerged from the forehead of the water WIRM. Like a sharp horn, it charged towards the cultivator with a ferocious atmosphere. Of the 12 absolutes of the North Sea, the green WIRM wreaks havoc. The cultivator was unable to determine which of the 18 water WIRMs was the real one. He could only summon a mid-grade flying sword and slash it towards one of the water WIRMs. As for the remaining ones, he could only rely on the high-grade magic tool, the vine net, to resist them. The spare flying sword in the cultivator's hand struck one of the water WIRMs and dispersed it into a cloud of mist. This one was indeed a fake. At the same time, the remaining 17 water WIRMs had already collided with the vine net. With a loud bang, the 17 water WIRMs, along with the horn on their heads, exploded at the same time, snapping 2 of the vine net's vines. Blood sacrifice technique. The cultivator shouted in exasperation. However, this was only the beginning. Immediately after, the cultivator thought that he was absolutely safe suddenly sprang out from the bottom of the sea. Despite the obstruction of the seaweed, after this water WIRM exploded, it still managed to snap one of the vine net's vines. The vine net, which was originally a high-grade magic tool, immediately dropped to a mid-grade defensive magic tool. Lu Ping's dazzling spell completely distracted the cultivator from the overflowing seas clan. The high-grade flying sword that was originally fighting against Lu Ping's goose feather dual blades in the air was finally shaken off by the dual blades. The dual blades quickly shot into the sea, and when they reappeared, they were already 18 water WIRMs with wings. The alarmed cultivator from the overflowing seas clan hurriedly pushed the flying sword's speed to its limit, piercing through 12 water WIRMs in a row. However, the cultivator was unable to stop the remaining 6 water WIRMs in time. The water WIRMs curled up their wings, and immediately spun as they sliced towards him. The cultivator hurriedly summoned a backup defensive magic shield, but he did not know which direction to block the attack. He could only randomly choose a direction to block in front of his body, and naturally, he did not choose the right one. A series of teeth-aching cutting sounds could be heard, followed by a series of bang 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 sounds. The vine net-like defensive magic tool of the highest quality was thus broken in the hands of Lu Ping. When the water WIRMs broke through the defensive magic tool, the cultivator finally summoned his high-grade flying sword to his side, blocking the already exhausted water WIRMs that had transformed from the goose-feathered dual blades into the wings of the water WIRMs. Just as the cultivator broke out in a cold sweat and was about to catch his breath, he suddenly felt something strange above his head. The cultivator raised his head and saw another water WIRMs charging towards his head, opening its huge mouth and swallowing the cultivator whole. The void above the cultivator's head, which was originally empty, suddenly shook a few times. Like a mirror breaking apart, another Lu Ping hovered in the air. At the same time, the 18 Wuyes on the surface of the sea all turned into a pool of seawater and dispersed. In this battle, Lu Ping managed to kill his opponent despite being inferior in terms of cultivation and magic tool. This allowed Lu Ping to have a direct understanding of his own strength, and at the same time, he was even more determined to cultivate the North Sea Wave listening mantra. Lu Ping tried his best to keep a low profile, but the North Sea 12 absolutes were not to be underestimated. They still attracted the attention of other cultivators. Not long after Lu Ping killed the cultivator, a late-stage blood condensation cultivator from the overflowing seas gang shouted angrily, "Brat, how dare you!" As he spoke, he was already shooting towards Lu Ping. Lu Ping felt bitter in his heart. Although he was no longer as fearful of late-stage blood condensation cultivators as before, Lu Ping really didn't want to reveal his true strength in a chaotic battle like this. Fortunately, a ray of green light shot across the sky, intercepting the late-stage blood condensation cultivator. Someone said loudly, "Sir, you're a late-stage blood condensation cultivator. How can you bully the weak? Let me exchange a few blows with you." Lu Ping looked over and saw that it was AI Butao. He shot out 9 small banners in a row, trapping the Overflowing Seas Gang cultivator in the middle. The Overflowing Seas Gang cultivator roared in anger, but he couldn't break through AI Butao's blockade. Their cultivation levels were similar, and their magic tools and techniques were equally matched. It was hard to tell who was superior. Lu Ping looked at AI Butao gratefully, thinking to himself, I was right. This AI Butao also uses a set of magic tools, just like my brother AI Shutao. I wonder what their relationship is. Lu Ping flew up into the sky. Just as he was about to see where he needed help, he heard a scream. The treasure is fake. There's no treasure on the island. Lu Ping frowned. When he looked towards the source of the voice, he realized that the North Sea cultivators who broke through the 4 prisons formation while AI Butao and the others were attacking the Overflowing Seas gang had returned to the battlefield in a panic. At the same time, they brought with them a shocking piece of news. Not only did the North Sea cultivators realize that something was wrong, but the Overflowing Seas gang members were also stunned by the news. At this point, everyone realized that something was wrong. The late blood condensation cultivators from the 3 factions seemed to have come to some kind of agreement and called their own cultivators to stop fighting. However, more than a third of the 200+ cultivators from the 3 factions had fallen. Everyone was in a frenzy of killing, and it was impossible for them to separate in such a short period of time. With the cultivators from the 3 factions tangled together, even the clear-headed cultivators who wanted to leave the battlefield would have to defend themselves from the attacks of others. Lu Ping retreated towards AI Butao and the other late blood condensation cultivators as soon as he heard AI Butao's signal to stop fighting. However, he was blocked by 3 Overflowing Seas gang cultivators along the way. Lu Ping had no choice but to be ruthless. He killed 2 of them before he managed to scare off the 3rd. Just as Lu Ping broke away from the battle and was about to reach AI Butao's group, a loud sound was heard. Then, the sound of war drums could be heard from the surface of the sea. Dong, dong, dong. The continuous beating of the war drums grew louder and louder, but it also sounded like it was coming from all directions. The cultivators could not tell where the drums were coming from. They only knew that the enemies were getting closer and closer. Seeing that, the cultivators from the 3 sides finally realized that something was amiss. One by one, they stopped fighting. Suddenly, however, they felt as though the magic powers within their bodies were affected by the sound of the war drums. It felt as though they were going out of control. Their hearts beat in sync with the beats of the war drums, seemingly on the verge of exploding. At the same time, a heart-palpitating aura of slaughter reverberated through the sky above the ocean, giving the cultivators from the 3 sides a suffocating feeling. Just as the cultivators were retreating to their own sides, the calm sea suddenly seemed to boil. Dozens of blood condensation realm demon beasts of various shapes and sizes leaped out from the water and launched a surprise attack on the cultivators around them. 20 to 30 mid-blood condensation cultivators died on the spot under the attack of the demon beasts. Although the other 10 managed to avoid death, they were still severely injured. The sudden appearance of the demon beasts shocked the cultivators from the 3 factions. The late blood condensation cultivators from the 3 factions quickly attacked the demon beasts and rescued the cultivators who were being attacked. Just as the battlefield was in chaos, a water pillar with a diameter of 100 feet rose from the surface of the sea around the 5 islands. More than 50 blood condensation realm demon beasts gathered on each water pillar and surrounded the human cultivators. The first beating of the war drums came from these 4 water pillars. Just when the human clan cultivators in the encirclement were bewildered, a long laughter rang out, and a joyful voice said, "There are actually so many human clan flesh and blood. Now, after we slaughter these human clan cultivators, we 4 siblings can show our faces at Father's birthday." Lu Ping looked towards the direction of the voice and saw a humanoid monster speaking on the water pillar in the east. Other than the mouth of a crocodile, this monster looked no different from a human. AI Butao murmured, "A half-shapeshifted demon beast that can speak the human language. Could it be Lu Ping fell into deep thought as he listened to AI Butao's words. The other cultivators were shocked and they saw the demon beast that was speaking. A shape-shifted demon beast. It's a shape-shifted demon beast. Doesn't that mean it's at the same level as a core-forging enlightened master? It's over, it's over. We don't have long to live. When AI Butao saw that the cultivators on the battlefield had lost all will to fight, he quickly shouted, "You're only at the 9th layer of the blood condensation realm. You're only at the 9th layer of the blood condensation realm because of your noble bloodline and pills. Are you sure you can take down all of us?" Chapter 128. AI Butao purposely raised his voice so that not only did Lu Ping and the others hear him, but even the Xianling sect and Overflowing Sea sect cultivators heard him. In their panic, they neglected the fact that the monster's transformation wasn't complete. Only a fully transformed monster was a true core-forging realm monster enlightened master. The panicking cultivators heaved a long sigh of relief, and the despair in their hearts was swept away. Whether it was the human or monster race, a core-forging realm enlightened master was an insurmountable gap between a blood condensation realm monster and a core-forging realm monster. At this time, a giggle came from the west side of the water pillar platform. A woman's voice came, "Big brother didn't manage to scare him this time. This human's chi and blood are quite vigorous. Later on, brothers, don't fight with this little sister over him." Although the voice was seductive, no one could see the speaker from the water pillar platform. The Xianling sect cultivator seemed to recall something. He suddenly exclaimed, "Primordial crocodile. You're the primordial crocodile of the demon race. Only you can rely on your bloodline to transform into a half-human at the late blood condensation realm." A half-human demon walked out from the north side of the water pillar platform. Not only did it have a crocodile's mouth, but it also had a long crocodile tail. The monster beast chuckled and said, "I didn't expect you to have a few knowledgeable fellows. But so what? You humans boast about your intelligence, but haven't you still fallen into the trap of us four siblings?" The Xianling sect cultivator's expression changed. "I didn't expect the Overturned Seas gang to collude with the demon race and set up this trap." When the West Tomb Island cultivators, Xianling sect cultivators, and the other North Sea cultivators heard this person's speculation, they hurriedly took out their mystic artifacts to defend against the Overflowing Seas sect. Seeing that they were about to start fighting amongst themselves before they were killed by the demons, the red-robed hall master of the Overflowing Seas sect's Fury Seas Hall shouted, "Han Weiyun, you're spouting nonsense. Even if the Overflowing Seas sect colluded with the demons, we would still plot against a few core-forging enlightened masters. A few hundred blood condensation realm cultivators are nothing in our eyes." When the crowd heard the hall leader Red Shirt's roar, those who were slightly rational knew that the Overflowing Seas sect was not colluding with the demon clan. Moreover, looking at the demon clan's array, it was obvious that they wanted to annihilate the Overflowing Seas sect as well. The Overflowing Seas sect had no reason to conceal their actions at this time. AI Butao saw that the demon beasts had completely surrounded the human cultivators. It was obvious that they had been planning this for a long time and wanted to capture all the human cultivators in one fell swoop. He quickly said, "At this moment, we humans are at a disadvantage. If you continue to fight, you will die in the blink of an eye. We should put down our grudges and break through the demon beast's encirclement together." Xianling sect's Han Weiyun and the Overturned Seas sect's Hall Master Hong Yi were also aware of this situation. They didn't refute AI Butao's suggestion. Seeing that the situation had stabilized, AI Butao turned to the primordial giant crocodile in the east and asked, "Sir, you said that today's situation was a trap laid out long ago. May I ask what kind of tricks you used?" The primordial giant crocodile on the eastern water pillar platform was obviously the leader of the demon clan's operation. Seeing that the human cultivators were almost fighting amongst themselves despite being heavily surrounded, and hearing AI Butao's question, the primordial giant crocodile was obviously very proud of its setup. It said, "You human cultivators can tame us demons as spiritual beasts and demon pets. Why can't we demons tame humans as pets? AI Butao was enlightened by the demon clan's leader's explanation. Lu Ping could also roughly guess the demon clan's strategy. However, he was a little surprised that human cultivators were willing to be the demon clan's pets. However, from the demon clan's point of view, the primordial giant crocodile's words were not unreasonable. The red shirt hall master was also a person with a sharp mind. He also roughly guessed the demon clan's plan. He said, "So you're saying that the group of pirates that my overflowing oceans gang annihilated was the bait you put out?" The primordial giant crocodile on the northern water pillar platform said proudly, "That's right. Not only was the treasure map forged by us, but we also leaked the news that you obtained the treasure map and your whereabouts." The more the demon clan spoke, the more pleased it became. When it was done, it could not help but laugh loudly. It was indescribably proud of itself. At this moment, the surrounded human cultivators finally understood the process of the demon clan's plan. Lu Ping was also secretly impressed by the demon clan's intelligence and tactics. At the same time, he completely threw away his contempt for the demon clan's intelligence. At this moment, the primordial giant crocodile, who had been silent all this while, appeared on the southern water pillar platform. Not only did it have a mouth and tail, but even its upper limbs had not completely transformed. It roared and said sternly, "So long-winded. Are you done yet? What's there to talk about with these humans? Why don't you just break their necks and make them into blood food for father? Why are you talking so much nonsense?" The primordial giant crocodile, who had not appeared all this while, spoke again. She said, "Little brother, you're still so impatient. Don't you feel that it's a great achievement to surpass these self-proclaimed intelligent humans in terms of intelligence?" The primordial giant crocodile stuck out its tongue and licked its long, flat mouth. Its saliva splashed everywhere. It said, "I don't feel any sense of achievement. Looking at so many human cultivators, I'm feeling hungry." The western giant crocodile laughed so hard that it could not catch its breath. The northern giant crocodile rolled its eyes. The eastern giant crocodile also laughed and said, "There's enough blood food this time. Other than for father, I can also have a sumptuous meal for the rest." The southern giant crocodile roared. "Big brother, you know what I'm thinking." The eastern giant crocodile's expression turned serious. "All right, that's enough with the small talk. You human cultivators must have recovered a lot of your arcane energy. However, you humans are not the only ones who can benefit from this." After saying that, the eastern giant crocodile waved its hand. Suddenly, 4 giant war drums rose from the 4 water pillar platforms. 4 mid-blood condensation realm demonic beasts beat the drums with drumsticks. The deep and powerful drum beats had a strange rhythm. When the human cultivators heard it, their arcane energy seemed to go out of control again. They quickly circulated their cultivation techniques to control it. Lu Ping also felt uncomfortable at first, but after circulating the North Sea wave listening technique for a while, the drum beats no longer affected him. Lu Ping looked around and found that the late blood condensation realm human cultivators were just as unaffected as he was. On the other hand, the surrounding Yao beasts kept stepping out from the water pillars, following the beating of the drums. Taking up a battle formation, they slowly approached the human cultivators and narrowed their encirclement. Not only did the peculiar sounds of the war drums fail to affect the Yao beasts, it instead boosted their morale. One by one, the Yao beasts turned to regard the human cultivators with waves of bloodthirsty killing intent. The Hall Master Red Shirt said, "Not good, these aren't ordinary demonic beasts. They're well-trained demon soldiers. They've already taken their positions while we were talking. We mustn't let them form a formation again." After saying that, he took out his magic tool and attacked the demonic beasts. The overturned sea gang cultivators followed closely behind and attacked the demon soldiers. The other cultivators were hesitant. When AI Butao heard the Hall Master Red Shirt mention demon soldiers, his expression changed. He quickly ordered the West Tomb Island cultivators to follow the overturned sea gang and attack. On the other side, the North Sea cultivators reacted the slowest. Under Han Weiyun's command, their attacks were scattered. On the east side, the primordial crocodile laughed. "You finally noticed? It's too late." As soon as he finished speaking, he waved the flag in his hand, and the formation of the demon soldiers changed. Several early blood condensation demon soldiers surrounded a mid-blood condensation demon soldier and formed a small circle formation. The small circle formations then formed a large circle formation under the command of a late blood condensation demon general. The small circle formations were interlinked and supported each other, blocking the first wave of attack from the human cultivators. Not a single demon soldier was killed. Only a dozen or so demon soldiers were injured. The demon generals nearby changed their formation, and the injured demon beasts wandered to the back. Although Lu Ping had heard about demon soldiers and Dao soldiers, this was his first time witnessing the power of a demon soldier's formation. Legend had it that demon soldiers could challenge those of a higher realm. Lu Ping didn't believe it at first. From Lu Ping's point of view, it was already impressive to be able to challenge those of a higher realm. But now, Lu Ping had no choice but to believe it. When he saw that the attack of a dozen late blood condensation realm cultivators only injured a dozen early blood condensation realm demon soldiers, Lu Ping truly experienced the power of a demon soldier's formation. 4 demon soldier formations made up of more than 50 demonic beasts. They adopted a strategy of attacking steadily, closing in on the human cultivators from all sides. The human cultivators rushed forward, trying to break through the demon soldiers' formation. However, each cultivator fought their own battles. Not only did they fail to break through the demon soldiers' formation, but they also lost more than a dozen of their own. Hall Master Hong Yi said anxiously, "This isn't a solution. The demonic beasts are attacking from all sides. We should work together to attack a single direction." With that said, he led the overturned Sea Gang members to attack the demon soldiers' formation on the west side. Ai Butao didn't hesitate. He also ordered everyone to attack the demon soldiers' formation on the west side. After that, Han Weiyun and the other North Sea cultivators also joined in the attack. With a total of 160 human cultivators attacking the demon soldiers' formation on the west side, the demon soldiers' formation was in a precarious situation. However, even after enduring so many attacks, the demon soldiers' formation on the west side still managed to hold on. The primordial giant crocodile that was in charge of the west side's formation couldn't sit still any longer. It urged the other 3 demon soldiers' formations to shrink even more. At the same time, it led a few late blood condensation demonic beasts out of the water pillar platform, charging towards the late blood condensation cultivators to reduce the pressure on the demon soldiers' formation. When the demonic cultivators on the water pillar platform charged over, Lu Ping instinctively looked over. He saw a 8th layer blood condensation cultivator in the lead. It was dressed in a flowery human dress, but it had a crocodile's mouth and a long crocodile tail. It was as terrifying as one could imagine. Only now did Lu Ping understand why only the female crocodile didn't show up when the 4 primordial giant crocodiles were talking. Clearly, she knew that as a female demon, her half-transformed appearance was not something to be proud of in front of the humans. When the primordial female crocodile saw that the human cultivators were about to break out of her formation, she anxiously tried to stop them. However, she discovered that the human cultivators she was fighting were looking away from her face. The female crocodile was smart enough to scheme against humans, so how could she not guess the reason behind this? She was instantly embarrassed and furious. She immediately went berserk and dragged 3 late blood condensation realm human cultivators into her battle circle. The surrounding human cultivators were secretly amazed by the primordial giant crocodile's noble status. They were worried about whether they could successfully break out of the demon soldiers' encirclement. When the demon soldiers saw how fierce their leader was, their morale was boosted. They once again stabilized the crumbling defensive line. At this time, the demon soldiers from the other 3 directions finally surrounded them. Chapter 129. The demon soldiers finally managed to force the human cultivators into a corner. The late blood condensation cultivators from the other three directions also attacked. The pressure on the primordial mother crocodile was greatly reduced, especially the primordial giant crocodile in the eastern demon formation. As expected of the leader of the four demon soldiers, with just a 9th layer blood condensation realm attack, he heavily injured a late blood condensation realm human cultivator to the point that he vomited blood. After that, he continued to charge through the encirclement of the late blood condensation realm human cultivators. Seeing that the human cultivators were about to be completely annihilated, the red-clothed hall master joined Ai Buotao and Zhang Weiyun in attacking the giant crocodile leader. At the same time, he shouted to the members of the Overturned Seas sect, "Set up the crystal array." The remaining 50 to 60 Overturned Sea gang members listened to Hall Master Red's command and weaved through the encirclement of the demonic beasts. Every 6 Overturned Sea gang members took their positions and formed a small hexagonal formation. Each small formation was connected to each other, forming an even larger hexagonal formation. Immediately, the attacks of the demonic beasts were halted. Then, the large formation moved to the west, repelling the demonic beasts that were in its way. The injured Overturned Sea gang members retreated along with their respective small formations, while the intact hexagonal formations moved forward to fill in the gaps. Dao Soldier Formation. Lu Ping was puzzled when he saw the intricate Dao Soldier Formation from the Overturned Sea gang. Today, not only did he see the Demon Soldier Formation, but he also saw the Dao Soldier Formation. However, such an intricate Dao Soldier Formation was not something an ordinary sect could possess. Moreover, the Dao Soldier Formation formed by the Overturned Sea gang members advanced and retreated in a well-coordinated manner. It was obvious that they had trained for a long time. Without a long period of practice, it was impossible to form such a tacit understanding. More and more human cultivators died. Ai Buotao panicked and retreated. He shouted, "West Tomb Island's Ai family cultivators set up the Dao Soldier Formation. The rest of you, follow my Ai family cultivators to break out of the encirclement." As he spoke, the remaining Ai family cultivators formed a simple formation around Ai Buotao and followed the Overturned Sea gang to break out of the encirclement. Lu Ping and the rest followed closely behind. However, from Lu Ping's point of view, the power of the Ai family's Dao Soldier Array was clearly far inferior to that of the Overturned Seas sect. Additionally, there was also a lack of rapport between them. Even so, it was still much better than the cultivators fighting on their own. Xianling sect's Han Weiyun followed suit, forming the Xianling formation with the remaining 20-plus Xianling disciples. Lu Ping recognized this Dao Soldier Formation. After all, Zhenling was an old rival of Xianling's sect, so he was quite familiar with their methods. However, Han Weiyun was only concerned about Xianling's sect's escape, and the North Sea cultivators who came with him did not have the time to care about them. The North Sea cultivators who were trapped in the center of the encirclement felt despair, and they cursed at Xianling's sect. When the four demon beast leaders saw that the human cultivators had formed a Dao Soldier Array and were about to escape, they quickly commanded their respective demon soldier arrays to stop them. Lu Ping followed behind the Ai family cultivators. At first, the breakthrough was smooth, but when the demon soldiers reacted, the pressure on them increased. Ai Buotao looked to the side and saw that Xianling sect's Dao Soldier Formation was not far away. Due to the obstruction of the demon soldiers, their breakthrough was slowed down. Without hesitation, Ai Buotao directed the Ai family's cultivators to approach Xianling sect. When the two arrays merged, the pressure on everyone instantly decreased, and the speed of their breakthrough increased significantly. At this time, they heard a strange cackle in front of them. The primordial giant crocodile, who commanded the southern demon soldiers, had already led the demon soldiers in front of them. Still thinking of running? Let me eat my fill first. At this time, there were less than 40 Ai family and Xianling sect cultivators left. Everyone was in despair. Ai Buotao said fiercely, "When enemies meet on a narrow path, the braver one wins." Fellow Taoists, once we break through this array, we will be considered to have broken out of the encirclement. The cultivators rushed forward together. Lu Ping was sandwiched in the middle of the crowd. Although he did not unleash the full power of his goose feather sabers, he was still outstanding among the cultivators. For mid-blood condensation demon beasts had already died on his way out. Lu Ping looked at the battlefield. At this time, the demon beast leaders from the east and north were commanding their demon soldiers to surround the overturned Sea Gang's Tao soldier array. The female crocodile from the west was commanding her subordinates to kill the dozens of North Sea rogue cultivators left behind by Xianling sect. The remaining demon soldiers met up with the demon soldiers from the south, and under the command of the demon soldier leader, they blocked the AI family and Xianling sect cultivators. Lu Ping saw that the number of cultivators around him was decreasing. Although AI Butao wanted to protect them, he was powerless to do so. On the other hand, the Xianling sect cultivators were only focused on breaking out of the encirclement. The pressure on them was increasing, and it was difficult for them to move forward. Lu Ping looked at the situation on the battlefield. If he did not think of a solution soon, he was afraid that no one would be able to break out of the encirclement. At this time, he needed to borrow the strength of others. Otherwise, he would die if he was alone under the siege of so many demon beasts. Lu Ping made up his mind. Suddenly, he dashed out from between the AI family and Xianling sect cultivators. Just as Han Weiyun was about to reprimand Lu Ping raised his hands. 10 medicinal pills that emitted an inexplicable fragrance flew towards the demon soldiers. Just as the demon soldiers were about to cast spells to defend themselves, the 10 medicinal pills suddenly exploded and turned into powder. Instantly, a strange fragrance that was 10 times stronger than before filled the void of the sea. The human cultivators suddenly felt a sense of hunger in their stomachs. At the same time, many of the cultivators' stomachs let out rumbling sounds. The human cultivators quickly circulated their magic power to suppress this sudden hunger. Just as everyone was about to reprimand Lu Ping for his recklessness, the demon soldiers on the other side of the formation fell into chaos. Many of the demon soldiers suddenly lost their minds and bit at the demon beasts beside them. The other demon beasts did not show any weakness either. They also bit at the demon beasts beside them as if they were delicious food. Only a few late blood condensation demon beasts still retained their sanity. They roared and tried to command the demon soldiers to get back into formation. However, most of the demon soldiers were stimulated by Lu Ping's hunger crush pill. Their animal instincts were triggered, and they no longer obeyed orders. How could the human cultivators not know that this was a rare opportunity? They rushed forward and attacked the demon soldiers who had lost their minds. The giant crocodile leader roared in anger and led a few late blood condensation demon beasts to block the human cultivators. However, even a strong man could not withstand so many people. Finally, the human cultivators broke through the encirclement. Even so, the demon soldiers who had lost their minds and treated their companions as food could also treat the human cultivators as food. Although the human cultivators managed to break through the encirclement, they still suffered heavy losses. Including the Xianling sex group, there were only about 30 of them left. At the same time, the demon soldiers behind them started to chase after them. The human cultivators did not have the time to thank Lu Ping and fled again. At this time, the female crocodile had already killed all the rogue cultivators. Seeing that the human cultivators had broken through the encirclement, it led the demon soldiers to chase after them again. AI Butao saw that the demon soldiers were getting closer and closer. He had no choice but to say, "Everyone, split up and break out of the encirclement, or we'll all die." The 30 or so cultivators each chose a direction to escape in. Lu Ping was already disappointed with participating in this operation, so he did not hesitate and turned to leave. AI Butao and Chen Huang wanted to stop him, but Lu Ping was already more than 10 meters away. Lu Ping had just run 100 meters away when he heard a loud roar behind him. When Lu Ping turned to look, he saw a giant crocodile's tail rising from the water's surface, smashing towards Lu Ping with an overwhelming momentum. Lu Ping sighed in his heart. Why did this primordial giant crocodile have to target me? Lu Ping was depressed, but his hands did not slow down. A blue water shield attracted the surrounding seawater, forming a thick wall of water in front of Lu Ping. It was the water-repellent shield that Lu Ping had used previously. This water-repellent shield had been damaged by the attacks of the late blood condensation cultivators when Lu Ping was being chased. For the past 5 years, Lu Ping had tried to repair it, but he was not proficient in smithing. Thus, he could only use his arcane energy to nourish it. A loud bang rang out, and Lu Ping felt as if he was a decaying dam that had been broken by a raging torrent. Lu Ping was struck by the crocodile's huge tail and was sent flying a few hundred feet away. A crisp sound rang out as the damaged water-repellent shield finally ended its temporary fate. It shattered into pieces and fell into the seawater beneath Lu Ping's feet. Force. Momentum. These words echoed in Lu Ping's heart. With his abundant arcane energy, even if it was slightly damaged, a 7th-layer blood condensation demonic beast shouldn't have been able to destroy it in one blow. Only this demonic beast had mastered the momentum of the Force realm, and with its unique bloodline inheritance, would it have been able to take advantage of the water-repellent shield's weak point and destroy it in one blow. When Lu Ping was defending against the attack of the crocodile's tail, he felt a crushing aura. It was the momentum that he had been trying to understand for years. Of the 3 states of Shi, Lu Ping had already grasped the birth force and borrowing force. Only the general force was out of his reach. Just as Lu Ping used the water-repellent shield to block the primordial giant crocodile's full-powered attack, Lu Ping, who was trying to comprehend the Force realm, suddenly felt a breeze behind his head. Killing intent. Lu Ping's powerful divine sense immediately sensed danger. He couldn't care less about hiding his soaring swords and used the raging waves, slapping the shore sword arts, riding the wind and breaking the waves, to the back of his head. Ding! 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 The female sword that attacked first was knocked away. The male sword that followed blocked the flying sword that was only half a foot away from the back of Lu Ping's head. What a sharp attack! What an exquisite swordsmanship! Turning the flying sword into a gentle breeze was also a wind elemental sword's skill's grand aura. If it weren't for Lu Ping's abnormal divine sense, he would have been killed by the crocodile's attack in his weakened state. After being ambushed twice in a row by an expert who had mastered the momentum, Lu Ping was still in a state of shock. His body was covered in cold sweat. He turned around and saw a silhouette meeting up with the Xianling sect cultivators on the surface of the sea 100 feet away. When the person met up with the Xianling sect cultivators, he turned to look at Lu Ping with a faint smile on his face. It's him. Lu Ping immediately recognized this person. When he was being surrounded by Xianling sect cultivators on Xianqi Island, Lu Ping had a sword duel with a pale-faced Xianling 4th-layer blood condensation realm cultivator. During the duel, Lu Ping comprehended force borrowing from the momentum realm and gained the upper hand. However, the other party's merry 18 swords also left a deep impression on Lu Ping. After a few years, not only did the other party successfully reach the late blood condensation realm, his swordsmanship was also one step ahead of Lu Ping, and he mastered the momentum realm. Chapter 130. Lu Ping didn't have the time to think about why the Xianling sect cultivator wanted to kill him. The primordial giant crocodile seemed to have locked onto Lu Ping. After the first attack, it chased after him again. If Lu Ping was any slower, he would be surrounded again. He had no choice but to summon his magic cloud wrap and fly southwest. Suddenly, a giant crocodile emerged from the sea where Lu Ping was. It looked at Lu Ping's disappearing figure with interest. With a wave of its tail, the crocodile leaped out of the water and chased after Lu Ping. The primordial giant crocodile saw that its brother had left the battlefield and was chasing after the human cultivator alone. It hurriedly asked, "Little brother, Where are you going? The crocodile didn't even turn its head. This human is delicious. I want to catch him and roast him. The female crocodile tried to dissuade it. That cultivator used a type of pill that makes people hungry. It might not be delicious. The crocodile was already far away, leaving only its laughter on the surface of the sea. That's why I want to catch him. I want his pill. I like this feeling of having my appetite whet. Their conversation traveled far on the surface of the sea, so Lu Ping heard it. He didn't expect that he would attract the attention of a 7th-layer blood condensation realm primordial giant crocodile when he used the hunger-swallowing pill to disrupt the demon army's formation. He cursed his bad luck. One chased while the other chased. One relied on an exquisite flying artifact, while the other had a high cultivation. They were evenly matched. In the blink of an eye, they had crossed 3,000 miles. At this time, only one human and one demon were left on the surface of the sea. Lu Ping didn't expect this demon to be so stubborn. It didn't give up even after chasing him for thousands of miles. Seeing that the sea in front of him was quiet, Lu Ping felt that his strength had increased tremendously after 5 years of hard work. He wanted to test the limits of his strength. The demon behind him was a good test subject. Who knew, he might have to fight it. Lu Ping stopped on the surface of the sea, turned around and looked at the approaching primordial giant crocodile expressionlessly. This giant primitive crocodile was 90 feet long, and just its mouth alone took up a quarter of its entire body. Seeing that Lu Ping suddenly stopped running, the giant crocodile thought that Lu Ping had some tricks up his sleeves, so it cautiously approached Lu Ping. When it didn't sense any danger, the giant crocodile leaped out of the sea and transformed into a 3-meter-tall half-human monster amidst the splashing water. It asked, "Kid, why aren't you running away? If you're still afraid, then surrender and become my pet. As long as you can provide me with pills, I'll help you cultivate. How about it?" Lu Ping originally thought that this monstrous beast had only come for the hunger beast Dan, but he didn't expect that this monstrous beast had actually guessed Lu Ping's identity as an alchemist. This made Lu Ping have a whole new level of respect for this monstrous beast. This monster looked simple on the outside, but on the inside it was also exceptionally shrewd. Lu Ping sneered, "Are you sure that you can defeat me?" The giant crocodile laughed and scratched its head with its front claws that had yet to transform, and said, "What do you think?" Lu Ping's face changed, and with a flash of blue light from the magic cloud, he immediately rose into the sky. At the same time, the sea under Lu Ping's feet suddenly turned into ice, and a sharp icicle shot out from the ice. Fortunately, Lu Ping discovered it quickly, otherwise, he would have been skewered into a human meat skewer. Lu Ping didn't expect this primordial giant crocodile to be so insidious. He immediately stopped talking and only used the soaring wing sword to speak. Since Lu Ping wanted to test his skills, he naturally wouldn't rely on the magic cloud's speed to engage in guerrilla warfare. Instead, he landed on the sea and used the wave-treading technique to face the primordial giant crocodile head-on. The soaring wing sword danced up and down, and Lu Ping used the raging waves crashing shore technique, stone piercing technique, and green serpent sea disturbance technique of the North Sea's 12 absolutes. At the same time, he also used the other spells from the 12 absolutes to help Lu Ping fight the primordial giant crocodile. The primordial giant crocodile's position in the monster race was similar to that of the green sea snake. This type of monster was always in existence that was difficult to defeat among monsters and cultivators of the same level. The primordial giant crocodile was shocked that Lu Ping, who was only at the 5th layer of the blood condensation realm, was able to fight it head-on. The primordial giant crocodile stirred up huge waves on the surface of the sea. The waves immediately turned into water snakes, water ducks, water rats, water swallows, water gulls, water fishes, water crocodiles, water scorpions, and so on. All of them flew towards Lu Ping, as if they wanted to devour Lu Ping. Lu Ping didn't panic. The wave-treading technique flashed under his feet. Using the sea deception technique, he immediately left behind 9 identical Lu Ping on the surface of the sea. The soaring wing sword turned into a pair of wings and pressed against a water serpent that rose from the sea. The water serpent that had grown wings flashed on the surface of the sea, cutting down all the water snakes, water rats, and water ducks that flew towards it. There were some that were lucky enough to escape the water serpent's attack. When they attacked the 9 Lu Pings, they discovered that they were only attacking a water man formed from seawater. When they tried to find a new target, the water man suddenly swallowed the small animals formed from seawater, turning it back into a puddle of seawater. Lu Ping broke the primordial giant crocodile's spell. The soaring wing sword shook, and the water serpent made a roaring motion towards the sky, pouncing towards the crocodile in front of it. The primordial giant crocodile curled its lips in disdain. It opened its mouth and tore the water serpent's body in half. The soaring wing sword slashed horizontally, but it was blocked by the crocodile's 2 front claws. After 2 metallic clangs, the soaring wing sword was blocked by the crocodile. Lu Ping stretched out his hand to recall the soaring wing sword, but the crocodile's 2 front claws were left with 2 cuts. The crocodile didn't care, but it looked at Lu Ping with even more fiery eyes. Lu Ping understood this kind of look. It was a kind of excitement when he met an opponent that could make him go all out. Lu Ping looked dignified, and the soaring wing sword hovered up and down around Lu Ping, ready to attack at any time. The crocodile roared and swung its long tail. A huge wave seemed to be attached to its tail, sweeping towards Lu Ping. This move again. Although Lu Ping had once taken this move, he still didn't dare to be careless. After all, he had a water-repellent shield on him at that time, not to mention the general trend contained in this move really made Lu Ping dare not take it lightly. Lu Ping cast the water control art to weaken the giant crocodile's control over the wave. At the same time, he rammed the soaring wing swords into the wave and used the rock-piercing sword art to finally neutralize the wave's attack. Just as the wave collapsed in mid-air, the scattered water droplets suddenly became cold, turning into ice blades, ice arrows, ice spikes, hailstones, and ice caltrops, smashing towards Lu Ping. Lu Ping felt like he was facing the collapse of an iceberg. There was no way out, and he could only welcome the fate of being drowned by the ice and snow. General trend, it's the general trend again. Lu Ping struggled to break free from this feeling of powerlessness. He threw out a few blood condensation talismans, water shield talismans, giant wave talismans, water curtain talismans, wild wind talismans, wood vine talismans, earth wall talismans, and other types of talismans. These talismans were used to continuously whittle away the various ice-type spells that were flying towards him. At the same time, Lu Ping cast out 2 water-type mid-grade defensive mystic instruments that he had obtained some time ago and protected himself in them. The soaring wing sword also danced in front of him like a ball of light. Finally, he managed to find a way out of the collapsing iceberg. At this moment, only one of the 2 mid-grade mystic instruments hovering above Lu Ping's head was left, while the other had been smashed into pieces. Before Lu Ping could feel his heart ache, he felt a chill on his neck. Lu Ping did not have the time to rejoice. He swung the soaring wing sword backwards, and a series of cracking sounds could be heard. The giant crocodile, which had unknowingly appeared behind Lu Ping and was about to bite off Lu Ping's neck, had all its sharp teeth broken by the soaring wing sword. At the same time, Lu Ping used the wave-treading technique to send himself forward and used the remaining mid-grade artifact to block the attack. With a clang, the artifact had already been smashed into pieces by the giant crocodile's front claws. Lu Ping, who thought that he had escaped the giant crocodile's series of killer moves, had just turned around when he saw the giant crocodile's large mouth bulge. Immediately after, it spat out the teeth that had been broken by the soaring wing sword towards Lu Ping. Lu Ping's divine sense clearly told him that the 72 flying teeth were not broken by the soaring wing sword from the giant crocodile's mouth. Instead, they were truly 72 low-grade artifacts. They densely covered the space where Lu Ping could dodge. Lu Ping's face turned pale with fright. It was already too late for him to summon another defensive artifact. He could only use the soaring wing sword to cast the Azure Dragon Sea Disturbance technique to protect himself. At the same time, he cast the Art of Traveling Clouds and Summoning Rain. Torrential rain poured down. Every drop of rain contained a trace of Lu Ping's magic power. The raindrops continuously struck the 72 low-grade artifacts, knocking them down or deflecting them. By the time the Art of Traveling Clouds and Summoning Rain dissipated, Lu Ping had already retreated a few dozen meters. His clothes had already been reduced to strips of cloth, and his limbs were covered in scratches. Fortunately, due to the Spirit Serpent armor's protection, all of Lu Ping's injuries were superficial. When the giant crocodile saw that Lu Ping had actually blocked its all-out attack, it was stunned for a moment. Then, it became angry. No one had ever been able to escape from its killer move. Even demonic beasts and human cultivators with higher cultivation levels than it were often defeated by its chain of attacks. Even if they didn't die, they would be severely injured. How could this fifth-layer blood condensation realm human cultivator, Lu Ping, survive? The enraged giant crocodile slammed its claws towards the surface of the sea. The 72 low-grade artifacts forged by Lu Ping immediately merged together, forming a high-grade sawtooth saber. Magic power flowed on the surface of the saber, and the sawtooth gleamed with a bloodthirsty light. It was clear that this was a life-bound artifact forged from the teeth that the giant crocodile had shed. The giant crocodile roared angrily and swung the saber at Lu Ping. However, Lu Ping, who was standing a few dozen meters away, suddenly let out a long howl and laughed. So that's how it is. So this is the so-called force. After Lu Ping escaped from the giant crocodile's series of attacks with great difficulty, he recalled the huge wave created by the giant crocodile's tail sweep, the Xian Ling Sect's pale-faced cultivator's sneak attack, and the avalanche of snow and ice during the battle with the giant crocodile. These scenes kept replaying in Lu Ping's mind. Lu Ping had finally opened the door to the final stage of the Force realm. Lu Ping swung his sword horizontally, like a great river flowing to the east, the irresistible force. Chapter 131. The primitive giant crocodile did not expect Lu Ping to comprehend the realm of momentum at this moment. When the giant crocodile waved its natal instrument, the sawtooth broadsword, and slashed at Lu Ping swept his two swords and suddenly performed a strange sword skill. The sword skill of the 12 skills of the North Sea. Before, Lu Ping always felt that he could not completely grasp this sword skill and could not fully exert its power, so he rarely used it in fights. Now that Lu Ping suddenly comprehended the realm of momentum, he completely understood the essence of this sword skill. Lu Ping swept his two swords, and the giant crocodile's broadsword collided with it. In the sound of metal colliding, the giant crocodile suddenly felt that it was in a big river. It tried to go against the current, but it was no match for the surging torrent, and was swept back dozens of feet in an instant. The giant crocodile saw that it was beaten back dozens of feet by Lu Ping on the sea, and its face was full of disbelief. Lu Ping was not going to let it go. After mastering the sword skill for the first time, Lu Ping could not suppress his excitement. Under the agitation of his mind, the soaring wing sword, accompanied by Lu Ping's long roar, sprayed out 49 swords in a row, and gathered into a rolling long river, rushing at the primitive giant crocodile. Naturally, the primitive giant crocodile did not show weakness. As a natural water master, with tens of thousands of years of noble bloodline, and at the same time, it had completely mastered the realm of momentum, the primitive giant crocodile had its own pride. The serrated broadsword was like an iron chain crossing the river, and also like a diversion dam. A pale saber chi spread out, and suddenly condensed into a crystal ice blade in the air. With a cold and bleak chi, it cut Lu Ping's sword chi torrent into two from the middle. The two of them exchanged dozens of moves, moving back and forth on the surface of the sea for several miles around them. Both of them were experts with extraordinary comprehension of water, so they stirred up the seawater in this part of the sea until it was turbulent. In the previous exchange, although the primitive giant crocodile did not defeat Lu Ping, it still had the upper hand. This time, the primitive giant crocodile finally realized that it could no longer gain the upper hand. The fight between the two was a true tie. The primitive giant crocodile originally wanted to rely on its far superior spiritual power to defeat the human in front of it, but after such a long time, the primitive giant crocodile was sad to find that the spiritual power of this level 5 blood condensation cultivator was no weaker than its. Lu Ping, on the other hand, was in high spirits as he practiced the Great River Flows East skillfully. Seeing that he had achieved his goal of practicing the Great River Flows East, and his strength had greatly increased, he decided to keep the primordial giant crocodile here. Aside from the fact that this giant crocodile also inherited the bloodline of a flood dragon, its level 7 blood condensation cultivation and spiritual power proved that the primitive giant crocodile was worthy of being on the same level as the green sea snake in the demon race. If Lu Ping was lucky enough to obtain the condensed blood bead after killing this giant crocodile, Lu Ping's cultivation would reach the level 6 blood condensation realm, and his path to the late blood condensation realm would be smooth sailing. Moreover, the crocodile was an essential part of Lu Ping's Dharma idol. After making up his mind, Lu Ping's expression hardened, and a murderous aura surged out. Up until now, Lu Ping had killed dozens of human cultivators and hundreds of demon beasts. Naturally, he also had a murderous aura around him. The giant crocodile's spiritual sense was very sensitive, and it sensed Lu Ping's murderous aura the moment it appeared. However, it didn't care. Even if it couldn't defeat this human cultivator, it could just retreat. The giant crocodile was confident that if it wanted to leave, ordinary level 9 blood condensation cultivators wouldn't be able to stop it. Just as the human and the demon were locked in battle, Lu Ping pointed with his left hand, and an iron stamp suddenly appeared above the giant crocodile's head. The landslide, which was 3 feet and 3 inches in length and width, came crashing down on the giant crocodile's huge body. Even though the giant crocodile had a huge body and endless strength, and it had condensed a water tower above its head to block the attack, it still underestimated the power of the landslide. The landslide smashed the water tower into pieces, and a huge gash appeared on the top of its head. Blood gushed out, and its huge body was smashed into the sea several feet deep by the landslide. Just as the giant crocodile was dizzy from the impact, Lu Ping's twin swords parried the sawtooth blade, broke through the giant crocodile's protective energy barrier, and landed 2 slashes on its shoulder. However, the giant crocodile's skin was thick, and its toughness was no weaker than a high-grade defensive artifact. Even though the soaring wing sword was a high-quality high-grade artifact, after breaking through the late blood condensation cultivator's protective energy barrier, it didn't have much power anymore. It only managed to slice off 2 pieces of the crocodile's skin, and to the giant crocodile, it was just a superficial wound. Even so, the giant crocodile was furious when it woke up from the pain. As a giant crocodile, it had never suffered such a huge loss before. The enraged giant crocodile finally lost its mind, stirring up huge waves on the sea surface. Its sawtooth blade slashed horizontally, vertically, and diagonally, bombarding Lu Ping. Lu Ping kept retreating, calmly taking on the giant crocodile's attacks. Landslide smashed down from the sky again. The giant crocodile, who was already prepared, swung its long tail and slapped Landslide to the side. Landslide smashed into the sea, splashing up waves that were 80 to 90 feet high. However, the giant crocodile's long tail stiffened as if its bones were broken, causing the giant crocodile's body to stagnate again. Lu Ping took advantage of the situation, and made 2 more cuts on the giant crocodile's tail, further enraging the giant crocodile. Under the double cooperation of the soaring wing sword and landslide, the enraged giant crocodile suffered a few losses in a row. Finally, it woke up and found that it had completely fallen into a disadvantageous position. It was like a clumsy puppet, being played by Lu Ping. Although Lu Ping couldn't do anything to this demon beast for a while, it was still heavily wounded by the piecemeal attacks. Its half-human body was dripping with blood. The giant crocodile finally realized that it had lost. If it went on like this, it would eventually be played to death by this abominable human in front of it. Fear was born, and it wanted to retreat. The giant crocodile showed its original form and rolled 7 times in the sea. 7 huge waves surged on the sea surface. The serrated broadsword suddenly broke apart and turned into the huge waves, rushing at Lu Ping one after another. Each wave was wrapped in a layer of sharp qi. Once Lu Ping was hit, he would be smashed into pieces. Lu Ping looked dignified. He stomped his feet and a big wave also appeared under his feet. The soaring winged swords were like 2 elves playing in the big waves. The big waves surged head-on and swallowed the 7 huge waves in a row. The soaring winged swords moved back and forth, smashing the 7 qi of the broadswords. When Lu Ping smashed the 7 huge waves and looked up, he found that the giant crocodile had already retreated in the direction where it came from under the cover of the huge waves. At this time, it had already walked a distance of nearly 100 meters. Lu Ping didn't expect that the giant crocodile, which was still angry and moving forward, would play a trick at this time. Since Lu Ping had made up his mind to keep this giant crocodile, he naturally wouldn't let it escape. He sneered and said, "Can you escape? Today, I will make sure you won't be able to return." After that, the white cloud under Lu Ping's feet flashed, and the magic cloud had already carried Lu Ping to chase the giant crocodile. The giant crocodile, which had changed back to its original form, fled in the water quickly. It turned its head and sneered, "Although I lost to you, it's also a delusion if you want to keep me here." Lu Ping followed closely behind the giant crocodile. He didn't answer when he heard the words, but a sarcastic smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. The giant crocodile, which was swimming quickly in the water, suddenly froze. "What is that?" Then there was a muffled dong sound. A huge sea turtle was knocked forward by the primordial giant crocodile. The primordial giant crocodile's huge body was also stopped for a moment. At this moment, the primordial giant crocodile suddenly felt its 2 hind limbs and tail suddenly tighten, as if it was tied up by a rope. The primordial giant crocodile struggled hard, and the 3 water snakes were thrown back by the primordial giant crocodile. The giant crocodile was once again dragged back. When it turned its head to look, it immediately cried out in shock, "Green sea snake! How did you get the help of the green sea snake? How is this possible? Could it be?" The giant crocodile seemed like it wanted to say something, but it suddenly heard a sharp cry from above. A huge green bird swooped down and clawed at the giant crocodile's eyes. The giant crocodile dodged to the side, but 2 bloody holes appeared on its back. The green bird was different from the other 4 spirit beasts. It was a demonic bird at the peak of the 6th layer of the blood condensation realm. If the giant crocodile was caught off guard, it would be able to injure it. This time, the giant crocodile's body completely stopped moving. At this moment, a strange sound pierced through the air behind it. When the giant crocodile turned its head to look, a dazzling green light blinded its eyes. At the same time, a sharp killing intent made the giant crocodile shiver all over its body. As soon as the primordial giant crocodile realized that something was wrong, it felt its body lighten. Then, the world began to turn in its eyes. Before the primordial giant crocodile lost consciousness, it finally saw the body that was glowing in green light. It was a simple flying sword. The primordial giant crocodile knew about this kind of celestial device because its big brother, the primordial giant crocodile, who only had a crocodile mouth left, had such a top-level celestial device. Lu Ping fumbled with the green flying sword in his hand. This was a top-grade waterwood dual attribute flying sword he obtained from the core forging cave on Fei Ling Island. When Lu Ping broke through to the mid-stage blood condensation realm, he had successfully refined this Qinghan sword. However, wielding a top-grade magic weapon consumed too much energy. At that time, Lu Ping, who was at the 4th layer of the blood condensation realm, could only launch a few attacks. Of course, the power of a top-grade magic weapon was undeniable. Previously, when Lu Ping used a high-grade magic weapon, he could only injure the primordial giant crocodile. However, the top-grade magic weapon was able to behead the primordial giant crocodile in one strike. While Lu Ping was immersed in the satisfaction of killing a late-stage blood condensation realm demonic beast in a head-on battle, De Bao was excitedly standing on the back of Lu Dagui, who was swimming towards Lu Ping. He was shouting excitedly at Lu Ping. Obviously, he had found something good. Chapter 132. When De Bao finally swam to Lu Ping's side, De Bao eagerly jumped onto Lu Ping's back. It crawled onto Lu Ping's shoulder and showed Lu Ping what it held in its hands. After entering the blood condensation realm, De Bao could finally shrink his fat body. Otherwise, Lu Ping's shoulder wouldn't be able to accommodate De Bao's growing body. 7 condensed blood pearls glowed with a misty red light as they rolled around in Lu Ping's hands. Each pearl was protected by a thin layer of red energy. This was also one of the signs of a late blood condensation realm cultivator. Lu Ping sighed inwardly at his good luck this time. Lu Ping had spent a lot of effort to use his spirit pets to slow down the primordial giant crocodile's speed. Then, he used the top-grade magic artifact, the Qinghan sword, to kill the crocodile in one blow. All of this was so that the primordial giant crocodile wouldn't have enough time to destroy its core space. He didn't expect it to succeed. After experiencing the enormous spiritual energy contained in the 7 condensed blood pearls, Lu Ping finally had the greatest support to break through to the late blood condensation realm. As expected of a demonic beast that was on the same level as the green sea snake. De Bao, Dagui, and Samling also looked at the 7 condensed blood pearls in Lu Ping's hands covetously. However, they knew that with their current cultivation, even half a pearl would be enough to kill them, let alone one. Lu Qin, who was at the 6th level of the blood condensation realm, was qualified to use it. However, she cultivated dual elemental energy of wind and fire, so the water elemental condensed blood pearls couldn't be used. Therefore, the proud blue phoenix only glanced at the 7 condensed blood pearls before landing on Dague's back to comb its feathers. Poor Dague first blocked the primeval giant crocodile and was knocked away, becoming the only wounded person in this fight. Later, not only did he drag the fat De Bao over, but he also became the cyan phoenix's foothold. Lu Ping threw 5 high-grade blood condensation pills to the 5 spiritual pets and fed a clear jade pill to Lu Dague. He smiled and said, "Everyone contributed a lot in killing the primordial giant crocodile, but Dague is the one who contributed the most. This crocodile's blood is enough for me to concoct the barrier-breaking pill to help Dague break through to the mid-stage blood condensation realm." The other spiritual pets revealed envious expressions. This was the blood of a late-stage blood condensation realm demonic beast. The energy contained in it was comparable to a mid-stage blood condensation blood pearl. It was naturally of the best quality to concoct the barrier-breaking pill. Lu Dague would definitely break through to the mid-stage blood condensation realm. Lu Ping recalled his spiritual pets. The entire carcass of the primordial giant crocodile was a treasure. Naturally, Lu Ping wouldn't let go of it. Other than the several hundred kilograms of crocodile meat, which Lu Ping wanted to keep for his spiritual pets, the rest of the crocodile's skin and bones were excellent spiritual materials for forging high-grade magic tools. Especially its 4 huge claws and a tailbone that was nearly 3 meters long, they were excellent spirit materials for crafting strange magic tools. Other than that, there was a palm-sized drum and 16 drumsticks. Lu Ping recognized them as the battle drums that the demon soldiers used to attack. It was a set of mid-grade magic tools. There was also a formation map that recorded a type of formation called the 4-prison chain formation. It was used to train demon soldiers or Dao soldiers. It was the formation used by the demon soldiers earlier. These 2 strange objects piqued Lu Ping's interest. He would discuss it with Hu Lili when he had time. There was also a simple map of the North Sea demon race's territory. This was a pleasant surprise. Lu Ping carefully put it away. There was nothing else. Before entering the core forging realm, demon beasts had the habit of swallowing all the spiritual materials, spirit stones, and spirit herbs they collected. Even if they couldn't use them, they would store them in their bodies for future use. This was why blood condensation demon beasts didn't have many things to store. However, this also strengthened their bodies and bones, making them desirable items for hunting demon beasts. After dealing with the crocodile, Lu Ping quickly flew to the west. Not to mention the crocodile's 3 siblings, Lu Ping could also sense that there were at least core forging realm monster enlightened masters behind the 4 primordial giant crocodiles, from the well-trained monster soldiers they brought along and the conversation they had. Lu Ping knew that these core forging experts had some unfathomable abilities. It was possible that the core forging demon beasts would notice when the primordial giant crocodile was killed. If he was too late, he wouldn't be a match for the 3 late blood condensation giant crocodiles. What Lu Ping didn't know was that the giant crocodile's status was much higher than Lu Ping had estimated. For hours after Lu Ping left, the 3 giant crocodiles finally realized something was wrong. By the time the 3 demons found the place where the 2 had fought, only the scent of the fallen primordial giant crocodile could be found. What Lu Ping didn't know was that the giant crocodile's status was much higher than Lu Ping had estimated. Lu Ping's portrait had already spread among the demon race. When Lu Ping stepped into the demon sea again, he would face endless pursuit from the demon race. In the next few days, Lu Ping headed back to the North Sea archipelago. Along the way, he organized all the spiritual materials he collected in the past 5 years. He also obtained 2 storage pouches from the Overturned Seas gang members that died in Lu Ping's hands. A high-grade Earth-type flying sword was obtained from the 6th layer blood condensation realm cultivator. It could be considered his biggest harvest. Initially, Lu Ping planned to search their interspatial pouches to see if he could obtain any information about the Overturned Sea sect. Unfortunately, there were only a dozen bottles of high-quality medicinal pellets and 25,000 spirit stones. There were no jade scrolls or anything that could record information. The Overturned Sea sect was indeed not as simple as it seemed. Fortunately, Lu Ping was very satisfied with his harvest of pills and spirit stones. He secretly praised these pirates for robbing others. They were indeed rich. Especially the 6th layer blood condensation realm cultivator. He actually had a high-grade spirit stone. This made Lu Ping very happy. High-grade spirit stones were no longer limited to cultivation. Once a spirit stone reached high grade, it could be used in many other ways. As far as Lu Ping knew, he had a few pill recipes that used high-grade spirit stones and spiritual herbs to refine pills. Other than that, from his conversation with Chen Lian, Lu Ping found out that high-grade and top-grade magic tools also required high-grade spirit stones as spiritual materials. High-grade spirit stones could be said to be a cultivator's jack of all trades. Autumn Cloud Island was a small island located south of the North Sea archipelago. There was a small spirit vein on the island. It was occupied by a medium-sized independent family, the Chiu family. The Chiu family was also the true owner of the island. It was said that the Chiu family had 4 core forging realm enlightened masters. One of them was even a mid-stage core forging realm expert. After the sea ban was lifted, Autumn Cloud Island became a base for cultivators in the southern part of the North Sea archipelago. The current head of the Chiu family finally grasped this opportunity. After several years of hard work, the originally declining Chiu family finally got rid of their embarrassing situation. Lu Ping wandered in the demon territory for 5 years. During this period, he had no idea where he was. It was only after he met the 2 cultivators, Cheng and Huang, that he found out that he was far away from Jinling's territory. He had arrived at the southern part of the North Sea archipelago. This Autumn Cloud Island was the closest human territory to Lu Ping. In these 5 years, Lu Ping had been training intensely and fighting with the demon beasts. He also had to hide his tracks at all times. It could be said that he was always in a state of nervousness, always on guard against the arrival of danger. After arriving at Autumn Cloud Island and seeing the endless stream of humans, Lu Ping suddenly had a feeling of returning home. His body and mind were bursts of exhaustion. Lu Ping arrived at an inn. Without waiting for the waiter to speak, he directly threw a mid-grade spirit stone at him. He went to a heaven-class high-grade guest room. After instructing the waiter not to disturb him, he went to sleep, leaving the waiter standing alone at the door of the room. He looked at the mid-grade spirit stone in his hand and laughed foolishly. It was only when the shopkeeper who heard the news rushed over and snatched the spirit stone from the waiter's hand that the waiter let out a wail and hurriedly chased after Lu Ping. After saying a lot of good things, he finally got 5 low-grade spirit stones from the shopkeeper. Lu Ping slept for 3 days and 3 nights. Originally, with Lu Ping's cultivation, as long as he cultivated a little every day, he wouldn't need to sleep at all. However, this kind of mental fatigue made Lu Ping very much miss this most primitive and relaxing way of rest. 3 days later, when Lu Ping came out of the inn in high spirits, the clever waiter was already waiting at the door. Seeing that he was clever, Lu Ping directly ordered him to take him to Chiu Yun Island's market square to deal with a batch of things. The waiter was overjoyed. He quickly informed the shopkeeper and took Lu Ping to stroll around this Chiu Yun Island. The waiter talked non-stop along the way, explaining to Lu Ping the customs and scenery of Chiu Yun Island. Although Lu Ping usually didn't talk much, it didn't mean that he was eccentric. On the contrary, he liked to listen to others and liked to gather with people. Especially when Lu Ping was wandering overseas for 5 years, he could only communicate with his spiritual pet. Now that there was a chatterbox beside him who kept talking, it made Lu Ping feel a sense of familiarity. Not to mention, the waiter should often talk to strangers. Therefore, not only was he eloquent, some of the anecdotes he talked about were also affectionate and very attractive. In the past few years, Lu Ping had accumulated a lot of spiritual materials by hunting demonic beasts. Except for a few high-grade spiritual materials that Lu Ping wanted to bring to Chen Lian, the rest were exchanged for spirit stones. In the past 5 years, the spirit stones that Lu Ping used for cultivation were all accumulated before. Not a single spirit stone entered his account when he was overseas, so he could only sit and eat. Even if Lu Ping had a net worth of 100,000 spirit stones, he still couldn't bear it. This batch of spiritual materials brought Lu Ping an income of nearly 30,000 spirit stones. In addition to the previous spoils of war, Lu Ping finally had a little more money. At noon, Lu Ping brought the waiter to a restaurant on the island that was specially opened for cultivators to have a big meal. After the meal, they even ordered a pot of spiritual tea brewed with the mid-grade spiritual material, rain mist tea, which cost Lu Ping a total of 5 mid-grade spirit stones. Lu Ping's extravagant behavior truly opened the eyes of the waiter, who was only at the 2nd layer of the blood-refining realm. The waiter held a cup of spiritual tea in his hand and drank it for 2 hours. If it wasn't for the fact that the teacup was made with a special heat preservation artifact, the tea would have turned cold long ago. After a short break at noon, Lu Ping followed the waiter to visit all the shops that sold spiritual herbs on Autumn Cloud Island. Lu Ping selectively bought some spiritual herbs according to the price. In the past 5 years, although Lu Ping had worked very hard to hunt demonic beasts, because the condensed blood beads were very hard to obtain, Lu Ping could barely concoct enough medicinal pills to sustain himself. Other than nearly 100 stalks of 1,000-year-old spiritual herbs, he had used up all the spiritual herbs he had. When the sun was setting in the west, Lu Ping, who had gained quite a lot, ended his day of shopping. Under the waiter's guidance, he returned to the inn. At this moment, the divine sense that Lu Ping spread out suddenly detected something. Lu Ping turned to the waiter beside him and said, "Brother, I still have some matters to attend to. I will make a move first. You can go back first."